And the madness begins.
Yeah, you could say that again. So this season's all over the place. We got one award show, which is quite literally going to be like a week from today. Well, actually, a little bit less now. And then you've got the other ones are going to be next month. It's crazy to think what's going on this year. Maybe we'll get back to normal ski next year, hopefully.
We were just talking yesterday about how we couldn't quite remember if we'd done our Critics' Choice predictions already or not, and I'm pretty sure we have.
Yeah. Maybe for our sins, considering how so much would have changed. Then again, I don't even know when their votes went in. I don't know whether we have a timetable of like when the votes went in for the Critics' Choice Awards. Because like if they all went in, yeah, well they announced it on December the 22nd was the delay, so I probably need to check on when that was done. Critics' Choice Awards voting.
All right.
Oh, below is the official ballot. I don't think that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, boy. So, lots to talk about tonight. Like I said, we'll be all over the place. This is the Guild Popcast, so this is where we decide what we think is going to go far. Guilds have changed entire races before, and I'm sure that some of us are banking on that happening again, depending on the circumstances. I will have seen my 10th Best Picture nominee as of our show next week. I'm officially watching Coda on Saturday. So, and very soon I will have 2 showings of everything that's nominated for Best Picture. It's going to take a little bit to get to it because I'm still waiting on a couple things, but yeah, I'm going to be able to see both theatrical viewings of all the Best Picture nominees. And for me, that's a big deal because that doesn't generally happen. So
it may or may not be very appropriate. It'll be right before this show that you finally see Coda, depending on how things go down.
It's definitely Saturday. I can confirm 100%. I'm doing the live action and animated shorts on Friday. Don't know what's going on for Cyrano because there is like 2 seats left in the theater, and I'm debating if I want to take one of them or not.
Why? Like, why is it that full?
It's a small theater and it's a dine-in theater. That's why. And we were talking about before how I watched House of Gucci with a packed theater. That is correct, but it was also a dine-in theater, which allows for less seats too. Now, if I would have watched House of Gucci in the theater that I watched Marry Me in, that would have been a different story.
I'm more disturbed by people whooping and hollering and going crazy over Gal Gadot's terrible delivery of her line in Death on the Nile that apparently was doing the rounds on Twitter last week.
When you're talking about Gal Gadot performing a line terribly, you're going to have to be much more specific.
Oh, the one that was in the trailer, all the champagne one. Apparently, some people were like losing their shit as if it was like that scene from the Avengers when everybody was coming out of the portals. I don't know.
Just like the other movies that are not doing anything box office wise, at least here, we don't talk about that stuff right now. We're trying to talk about
Is it going to
This
affect?
way.
Is it going to affect Branagh?
No, no chance.
Is it the Dream Girls skew?
Yeah, because Brown's one of the few people that comes out of Death on the Nile unscathed, so he should be okay. Well, yeah.
So I guess that's a cold open. It's Monday. It is 6:10 p.m. here on the East Coast, and sun's going down, but sunny Orlando, Florida. My name is Owen. Joining me as always, we have Ashley.
Oh, they are doing an event in London for the Critics' Choice Awards. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. They're covering their asses.
I'll take that as your opening.
Yeah.
AJ, welcome as well.
I can't even look at the monitor right now. I still look like shit. I said that like 2 or 3 videos ago, and I still feel that way. I can't remember the last. I'm sure this is probably relatable to many people. I'm just at a point now where I can't remember the last time I didn't feel tired and broken. So that's just kind of start showing.
I get that 100%, especially right now.
Mm.
So lots to talk about. Ashley brought back his snack stash. That's posted on the channel. AJ's got videos coming very soon as actually tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the words of the SpongeBob narrator, tomorrow for sure.
Tomorrow and Wednesday, because I went ahead and took it amongst myself to put up content, so we're even right now. This is the video for Monday.
And Wednesday's definitely happening because that one's already shot. So
Tuesday and Wednesday are important. We have reviews and we have something celebrating something as well. That's going to be on Wednesday. So lots to talk about. Before we go any further, as we always go to our chat room, like we always do here on the Popcast Network. Brian says lots more films I've seen since the last podcast. He saw Boar Horse. I hate that freaking movie. The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Yep, my favorite of the Rings movies. They ruined the. They don't need to make it a movie.
I'm just saying those 2 movies back to back and imagining watching them back to back. I am asleep right now.
Speaking of that, and a comedy for one is still comedy, or in this case, comedy for 2 is comedy. Syriana.
Oh God.
There you go.
One of these days a rewatch of Syriana will do it a lot of favors, but that time still has not come yet.
The Master, which I enjoyed. Inception, I think we all love it on this network. Rabbit Hole, which is
Oh, wow.
fantastic movie that if you haven't seen it, go watch it now. The Artist, very deserving Best Picture winner. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. AJ and I were talking about that the other day, actually.
Yeah.
Which
I'm assuming
one?
Fincher's is what he means.
Which one
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
Is it like the foreign version or the foreign extended version or the Daniel Craig one?
He's watching the movies from that season, it looks like.
Okay, so it would be the Craig.
A lot of good stuff, actually. True Grit, Moneyball, Les Mis. Yeah, tell me about it. Excellent. Gravity, Grand Budapest.
That's more like it.
Well, you lost me with Gravity and War Horse and The Hobbit, but I'm good with everything else. So I don't hate Gravity. You know this. I'm just not a fan of it.
It was your Dune of that year.
Jesus. We not talk about Dune at this point. Josie says, "Hey peeps, watching Silence of the Lambs 4K." She got Unbreakable, The Fifth Element, and Silence of the Lambs for 4Ks. That's cool.
It's a good range.
Brian says, "I also finally saw The French Dispatch. Why wasn't it nominated for any Oscars?" Good freaking question, Brian. Nominate Gartner, and I can say it again because I've seen it twice now, so I can judge it. You nominate stuff like Nightmare Alley, it shouldn't even be in Best Picture, and you don't nominate The French Dispatch? Unbelievable. Just as bad as that BAFTA jury. It says it's his second favorite Wes Anderson film now. Very cool.
behind Grand Budapest, I'm guessing, because of
You are
the previous
absolutely
comment.
correct.
Yeah.
Let's see. Josie's still reading The Great and Secret Show by Clive Barker. More than halfway done by now. Pretty darn good. Next one for me is Warrior. Ooh, Tom Hardy's amazing in that movie. Go watch it. Watch it now. After the show's over, just watch it. I don't care if it's tonight. It says not tonight. No, dude, watch it. Warrior's awesome. Brian says also watched the Rings trilogy for the first time, doing a 10-film Spider-Man themed movie marathon before No Way Home. I've seen Raimi's trilogy, Mark Webb's, and almost was about to finish Homecoming, then came in this podcast. Oh, priorities, good sir. Thank you. We appreciate that.
So we both interrupted Michael Keaton to be here because I literally have Hulu open right now in another tab, ready to start Dope Sick, and then I just didn't yet. So
Josie says Clive Barker's metaphysical approach to storytelling is quite brilliant, I think.
Oh, speaking of that, it's funny we've been talking about him because I just received something where there is a place where I think it's like a flea market or something that's around here, and there's a dude that just does like these drawings.
Oh, cool.
They're just really small and modest. Like some of them he does like cards. Like this one is Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, nice.
And this time around, I got a bookmark that is Pinhead.
Nice.
It's like it's insane how great these drawings are. Beetlejuice is one of them also, and it's so detailed.
Lots of Horror Nights correlation. Something from the past, something from the present, and who knows, maybe something from the future. So we'll see.
That future is the return of Black Crab Wrestling. Pigs might fly.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, we're gonna go into all the categories tonight. Well, kind of. When it comes to the guilds, we're not gonna hit like everything, but
the major four.
We'll get to that.
For instance, SAG will be the only one we go into TV, right?
Yes, thank God. So yeah, I mentioned we finally seen Coda. So apparently what they're doing is they're showing special screenings of the movie that is free. So Free's good. Free's very good. I like Free. Free's awesome. Because Rinsky comes out next week. So Free's really good. I like that. So yeah, we're going to be watching Coda, and I'll be able to finally knock out the 10th of the Best Picture nominees, which I'm very excited about. The only thing that Brian has to do left are Venom, third time watching Spider-Verse, which I still haven't seen yet, Far From Home, and Let There Be Carnage.
Okay, you were going to say something else?
No, Josie said no way. Clive Barker's illustrations for Thief of Always are outstanding. Yes. All right. So yeah, we're going to the guilds tonight. Like I said, programming note. I'll say it again after the show's over, but I'll do it right now. AJ's got movie reviews coming tomorrow. He has a special video commemorating the birthday of Emily Blunt. More speaking bluntly on this network. Thursday is probably going to be a Cali video. Friday is going to be a movie review, and Saturday is probably another Cali video, and Sunday is probably another Cali video, and then the final one. And then Monday, we're here for SAG.
Yeah, are we going to sort of live react to it? It's just the archive will go up as like Monday's video, or
it won't be a live reaction. It'll be after the show's over. We'll go live.
Right. Yeah.
Just like we used to do in the wrestling podcast days.
And before we start these guilds, shout out to Coming to America for like pulverizing the makeup guild.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Have a new front runner now.
It looks like it.
Yeah, Coming to America got both contemporaries and the special makeup effects, and then for period, it was a split between Cruella getting period makeup and Being the Ricardos getting hairstyling for period.
Visibility is a good thing. Yeah, that's it. Brian had a message, but he deleted it, so okay. Let's move forward. He said he's watching. I believe he's watching The Social Network. That's what he said for the next show.
Oh, nice.
You don't realize AJ's. I'm sure you probably do, but most on here may not realize AJ's connection to The Social Network. The fact that it was just another movie, and then it grew and grew and grew and grew, and it became one of AJ's, like, I believe it was your favorite movie of the decade, correct?
The third behind the two Tarantinos.
Oh, yeah, that's obvious. Yeah, good point. Of course, everybody knows mine, Silver Linings Playbook, More Ways Than One. And Ashley, I don't recall what yours was off the top of my head.
I can't remember. Have I even got the decade list?
Probably not.
Probably on a previous. I think I deleted it off.
Fine.
I deleted it off this year's list, but it'll probably be on last year's spreadsheet. But I don't want to go to that because I'm ticking boxes.
That's fair. So yeah, let's get started.
Where do you want to start?
Should we go reverse chronological order? So, considering WGA is the 20th, then PGA is the 19th, then DGA is the 12th, and then obviously SAG is this coming Sunday. So, if we go that way,
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll go backwards. Ski. I'm good with that.
So that puts WGA first.
mm-hmm.
Oh, good lord. Okay.
And we
Are
start.
we just doing
with
original? Are we just doing original and adapted, or are we doing documentary?
documentary because it's it's going to be interesting this year because there is, unlike previous years, there is absolutely no links between this year's nominees in WGA and Oscar for anything.
I see only one of them has a Wikipedia page, so that's a good story. All right, so I'm assuming documentary is where we are starting.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, there's three. There's the only one with a Wikipedia page, which is Becoming Cousteau, and then what's our pronunciation on this?
Exposing Muybridge.
Muybridge makes sense to me.
And then, like a Rolling Stone, The Life and Times of Ben Fong Torres. I almost feel like it's a trap to go with the only one with a Wikipedia page.
I'd say it's a good bet.
So I was kind of looking at like a Rolling Stone, but I think I'm just gonna stay safe, which is gonna be a trend throughout the day, and say Becoming Cousteau.
Ashley, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the Cousteau one as well. Mainly because I think that was in the, from what I remember, that was in the shortlist. But didn't actually make it through to the overall nominations list. So, just on that, I feel it's probably the strongest of the three. Maybe.
And for the mark in me when it comes to Almost Famous, AJ knows, of course, I'm going to go like a Rolling Stone, The Life and Times of Ben Fong Torres. Hello.
All right, adapted.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one.
We got Coda, Dune, Nightmare Alley, Tick Tick Boom, and West Side Story. Only 2 Oscar nominees. And I would like to be adventurous and say we're gonna do another crazy year like 2018 where they just say fuck the Oscar nominees. But I think I am gonna narrow it down to Coda and Dune, and I was leaning towards Coda, so I'm going to say Coda, especially since I would say because like I said, it could be a trap to do this, but you tend to want to, the first thing you want to tend to do is rank how likely they are Oscar wise.
Mm-hmm.
and where we have, like Power of the Dog and the Lost Daughter being at the top of this category. I would say Coda would be the next one in that line, and that's another thing. Just kind of feels like it's leading towards them. But once again, they could totally go rogue, but I feel pretty good about saying Coda, I think.
Ashley, what do you got?
I'm gonna say Coda, but I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere like from out of nowhere, Tick Tick Boom actually gets this.
That'd be amazing.
In which case, it probably means Coda and Dune are not safe bets for winning adapted. What with obviously, three of the content. I'm pretty sure all three of the ones that are in the Oscars were the ones that weren't eligible.
That sounds right.
It's tough because I'm prepared to go out on a limb, unlike you guys at this point. The right answer here is Tick Tick Boom, obviously, but I don't want to go with. I don't want to go with it. I am going to go with a non-Oscar participant, but I'm not going with Tick Tick Boom. I'm going with Tony Kushner.
Interesting.
I think West Side Story is going to do decently well. Obviously, it did well in nominations, but I don't necessarily think it's going to do much. And it could win here, and it really wouldn't change much of anything. This could go to Dune very, very easily. And then it could have a little bit of visibility going up against The Power of the Dog and The Lost Daughter. But I don't necessarily see that. Coda is very likely at this point, but it sucks. It's the only one of these I can't say anything about. So it's like I feel like I'm at a disadvantage going into this movie because I don't know what its actual chances are because I can't judge it at all. I almost feel like, well, Kushner's the first thing I jumped to, so I was like, it's still you don't necessarily, you always go with your instincts, and my instincts here is West Side Story, but I mean, just looking at everything, I'm still not completely sure. All right, I'm gonna have to change my mind.
Oh.
And I swear to you, if Kushner wins, I'm gonna be angry, super angry. This should be Tick Tick Booms. Coda makes sense. I'm going with Dune.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say Nightmare Alley just to really confuse us.
Oh. Do I want Dune to win? No. But I feel with its visibility and its 4,000 Born Award nominations make me think that it could be a dark horse contender for screenplay. And that could be Denny's potential award since they can't give him director.
Yeah. I would love to see it happen.
I know you would. Oh God, we got more. Chat time before we go any further. Josie says, I do think Dune will sweep most of the text. I'm curious to see what the period segments of ADG and SDS will go for.
Yeah.
Brian says, I applaud at the end of The Artist. Same. Brian says, Becoming Clusto is at the BAFTAs. Okay.
That's right.
Josie said, WGA members looking to get into contention should make sure their membership is renewed next time. Josie said, I'm predicting Coda for WGA. Brian says, I think Coda is more likely than Lost Daughter because Lost Daughter is not in Best Picture. Being There should have been nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay that season, even though it did win Screenplay at BAFTA, says Josie. And the BAFTA for Screenplay 2 years after its release, the year I was born, 1981. I'm really regretting what I said now, but it's already said now, so we're good.
Well, you might be a little happier with this next category.
Yes, 100%.
For original, we have Being the Recorders, Don't Look Up, The French Dispatch, King Richard, and Licorice Pizza. It's like we were saying, and we'll be talking about this a lot today. um, I would save this for PGA, but I'll just go ahead and mention it now. I had a discussion with Owen recently. By recently, I think that was just yesterday, actually.
That's
Uh,
correct.
Where King Richard is in this race is very interesting.
Oh yeah.
And it's like when you look at the fact that it has a lot of things in its favor, like the fact that it's been one of the most consistent movies through the whole season as far as nominations. It has a potential major acting win in its future, potentially. There is competition, obviously, but you ask a lot of people, and a lot of people are looking at Will Smith, so there's that. And that editing nomination, the editing nomination that basically sealed Green Book, if you ask me, besides the PGA win. King Richard's in a really, really good place. So honestly, whether it be WGA or SAG Ensemble or anything else, a King Richard win would not be surprising to me.
Nope.
All of that said, I'm still gonna say PTA because I do think it is obviously down to him and Branagh, it seems. And obviously, Branagh got a really nice boost from how many nominations Belfast got versus how many Licorice Pizza got, which still is surprising to me. It still very surprising to me, but looking at the, I would be like if Branagh were here, I'd be still trying to debate, oh no, which one is it? But since Branagh's not here, and though King Richard is in the back of my head, is certainly a possibility that people should not be dismissing. I'm still gonna say PTA.
All right. Ashley?
I'm trying to work out whether, because obviously it is the sort of guild people that also vote on the main awards for the Oscars, so it's sort of like trying to predict both at the same time. I think on this list, I'm I'm gonna give it to Licorice Pizza, but I'm honestly not sure as to whether it's gonna be one of these. King Richards gets something, which I wouldn't be surprised with, or they just like Sorkin, and it gets it with whatever. But yeah, that's what I'll take my hunches on.
All right.
Yeah, that Sorkin thing crossed my mind. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. AJ alluded to it, and he might have revealed a little bit of my cards for later on. We'll see. But everyone else soon shall as well. I can't doubt any of these five at this point. Honestly, I could see reasoning for any of the five nominees to walk out with the victory. Obviously, you've got everything here plus Don't Look Up are all some of my favorite movies of the year. Like my absolute favorite movie of the year is in here, and some of my other favorite performances of the year are in here. And you have Don't Look Up. So no, you do not discount Adam McKay. You do not discount Aaron Sorkin. Not at all. I'd love Wes Anderson to be in this. If anything, it'd be great to see Wes win something for the French Dispatch, even though it's not really going to go any further. But I'm telling you, like AJ brought it up, and like it's something that's the reason why we had this conversation in the first place. And it's ringing in the back of my mind that King Richard is going to do something. I don't think it's something you just forget about. I don't think it's something that is not in there because it doesn't belong there. And I really think that it's going to perform in a way that a lot of people are not anticipating. That being said, instead of going with my head, I got to go with my heart, and I still got to think that PTA is going to pull it off. So licorice pizza.
I just love how that sounded like a threat. King Richard's gonna do something.
Do something right. Brian says, last night I typed my predictions for what could be my personal Big 8 lineup when I do my Oscar movie marathon after the season. Brian says, did anyone else notice that Summer of Soul aired on ABC last night?
Did it?
I don't know. I have access to television.
I did not notice that. That's wild.
I was today years old when I realized that was a thing. So, of course, that disappears right before we're about ready to go in the next category. So that's WGA. Obviously, there's more categories, but nope, no, there's not. We're good. All right.
So the next one in reverse order is
PGA.
what? Oh.
PGA 24 hours before on the 19th of March.
Okay.
So we're once again starting with documentary?
Yeah. Except this time there's more than 3.
And once again, I've seen all of these except for that pain in the ass Writing with Fire, wherever the hell it is.
It's on British it's on British television next week, I believe. So it might show up on various places on the internet soon.
So, for documentary, we have Ascension, The First Wave, Flee, In the Same Breath, The Rescue, Simple as Water, Summer of Soul, and Writing with Fire. Well, I was thinking about something.
Okay.
Obviously, Summer of Soul is the big one. Summer of Soul is essentially the one to beat in this category, right? Like all like through the season.
Seems to be that way, yes.
Well,
since it's not likely to win its other categories because those other categories have other front runners, are we underestimating that they might want to give Flea something?
Nope. Not at all.
To me, it's them that are ahead of. It's them two, then the Rescue, possibly, as a possible third, and then the other ones probably are making up the list. At least in terms of PGA's list.
So I really want to pick this apart. I want to say, I think it might be Flea.
Mm-hmm.
The Rescue is definitely one, even despite its snub. But once again, that's the documentary category and snubs. They might as well not even matter as far as other award shows go. But I think I am still. I mean, even one of the COVID ones could do it. The First Wave or In the Same Breath. But I'm feeling safe. And I think I'm just going to stick with Summer of Soul.
Okay. Ashley?
It might be just because I actually got the digital version of it with 2 hours of extra footage that wasn't even included in the original film. Which I'm also surprised by because I didn't think Apple releases would actually get a digital release on services other than Apple. I thought it was going to be sort of like Netflix sort of walled up like how they usually do with their stuff. So yeah, if you couldn't tell from that. I'm also going with Summer of Soul, but I would not be surprised if Flea gets it because I could easily see it, getting it, and whether that would give it enough momentum to give it a chance at Oscar, we'll see.
I'm going with Flea.
Yeah. Because Even though I went safe with Summer of Soul, I've been like kind of leaning in that direction. Like Flea's gotta get something. You would think.
A couple messages in chat. Josie says it's funny how PGA is also an abbreviation for golf, for a golf thing.
Yeah, that's the fit. If you search PGA awards, you get the golf awards.
Good Lord. Binaural Dean, welcome back. Says, what's your favorite donut from Voodoo so far? The Great Babe. I don't need to elaborate. It's just really good. I like the ODB as well. Also says I tried the Oreo Boston cream, and one time it was amazing. I don't like filled donuts, Dean. I really don't at all. Filling only works for me when it is peanut butter, caramel, or cookie dough. That's the only way. That's the only filling I accept in my donuts. Yeah, the Oreo, the dirt is really good, and the ODB, it's basically just like the Oreo with like peanut butter over top of it. So good. Videos that exist right here on this channel. Yeah, I feel like when it comes to documentary, it's the same thing with the Oscars. Like the major front runner is going to be the one that's probably going to lose at the very end. So it's probably down to one of these two for the guilds, but we'll see what happens.
Was it the Agnes Varda one? Faces Places that got beat by Icarus.
I think so.
Because this category has done some unpredictable shit.
Totally.
And it's like, because I kind of, you know what Summer of Soul and Flea is kind of reminding me of is when Won't You Be My Neighbor got snubbed. And it's this, I could be remembering it wrong, but as far as I remember it, I remember thinking that made RBG the front runner. And it was kind of at the last minute that Free Solo became the front runner. Because I remember predicting Free Solo, but I remember it feeling very abrupt that it was suddenly the front runner over RBG. And I'm wondering if, and I guess that's a different scenario because Summer Soul is technically the Won't You Be My Neighbor of this category, only it's actually in. So.
I mean, I remember predicting RBG, and because I was bound and determined that it was going to win, and also it was going to win song as well. So. We have the library. That's right. Nice.
What was that?
Josie says we have golf magazine at the library.
Are we ready for animated?
Yes, we are.
Well, this one's interesting because if you're not Disney, you can pretty much win anything except the Oscar.
Yeah.
Like if something un-Disney wins here, which would only be one thing, that doesn't say Encanto or something is out of this. Because I feel like these, the ones we're working with here are Encanto, Luca, Mitchell vs. the Machines, Ride and the Last Dragon, and for some fucking reason Sing 2. And I would say pretty easily it's narrowed down to Encanto and Mitchell vs. the Machines.
Yeah, for sure.
And while I feel like, Encanto would be an easy Oscar favorite, I think I'm going to, and BAFTA might go against Disney as well, since they have before as well. It's like Disney could strike out here and BAFTA and still win Oscar easily. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to go with the Mitchells versus the Machines here.
Yeah, I figured you were going Lord and Miller. Ashley, what do you got?
I'm probably going to stay safe and go with Encanto. I'm trying to remember what the history was, at least with this, whether this has been good territory for them in the past. I think it has. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mitchell vs. Machines gets it. I'd be very surprised if Sing 2 does. I saw a commercial for it on television this weekend that was just Bono is in this film. Sing 2 out now. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the kids that are watching this that have no clue who he is are really enamored by that.
See, because it sounds like you just described the movie as a whole.
Who knows?
Fair. Let's see. Jersey says, would consider the rescue more of the Won't You Be My Neighbor. Thoughts on Fantastic Planet, says Jersey.
I love it. It's super trippy. It's probably been a decade since I've seen it.
Del Toro is a big fan of Watership Down. I like the bunny emoji. It's nice. He even does a short commentary on the Blu-ray.
Nice.
So just looking at it with the PGA, the only time PGA didn't go, I think, with the Oscar. No, the most recent time where they didn't follow the Oscars was Lego Movie, but that's obviously because Lego Movie didn't make it in. And then
Who directed the Lego Movie?
and then PGA gave the award in 2012 to Wreck-It Ralph when I think Brave won the Oscar. And then 2011 they gave it to Tintin when that was that Rango or was just Rango BAFTA? I'm trying to remember.
Rango definitely won.
Yeah.
I got the bragging rights for that one. Because
Yeah,
that was the only thing, Rango.
Since then, well, since the Lego Movie, Inside Out, which did, Zootopia, which did.
Yeah.
I think it beat Moana, didn't it?
Yeah.
Coco, Spider-Verse, Toy Story 4, and Sao.
I haven't seen most of those, weirdly enough. God, that feels so bad. Let's see anything else in chat real quick. I know the movie Sunday Bloody Sunday movie doesn't have anything to do with you two, I don't think, but have any of you seen it?
Now, is that there's some I get titles confused. That's the Schlesinger one, right?
I'm just checking that up because I'm trying to. Because yeah,
Josie will chime in momentarily.
You got the confusion because of
There's
course
the Schlesinger one and the Paul Greengrass one, and I get those confused.
yeah, the Paul Greengrass one I think is just at least over here. I think it's just called Bloody Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Sunday
Bloody Sunday is the one with the really young Daniel Day-Lewis, like vandalizing cars.
Interesting.
It's like that random bit when Pierce Brosnan's in The Long Good Friday, and you're like, what?
Well, yeah, there's really no reason for me to elaborate any further. This is Encanto's award to win.
All right.
Oh boy.
So either the picture race is going to be really, really interesting, or it's going to be really, really boring.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to say.
I mean, I made a decision before we started, but I'm actually not confident in it. The ones we're working with, if anybody would for some reason be unaware, are being the Ricardos, Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom, and West Side Story. Man, I miss you being here, Tick Tick Boom. You really should still be.
Tell me about it.
So, the obvious answer is Power of the Dog. The safe answer is Power of the Dog. But then again, is Power of the Dog the safe answer?
Because we do have history of things going on, don't we, in previous years?
Because we've seen quite a few curveballs thrown here, like when The Big Short got this, or when Green Book made its big splash getting this. Both of those for different reasons, obviously. Then there's the whole thing that 1917 getting it and seeming like, okay, this is done now, and that wasn't the case. The thing that's making me say they'll stick with Power of the Dog is the 12 Oscar nominations. Like I was wondering if they were gonna go anti Power of the Dog, if they might have held back on nominations morning, and they clearly didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are unaware or just showing up to our things here, the things we've been saying are, I feel like I've said this so many times at this point. It's like, but you can never count on it's always the same people. This whole idea that now that we've been through the whole pandemic thing and theaters shut down, and there was a whole big thing about, oh my God, we got to keep theaters alive. We really got to keep theaters alive. Is this the year where the theaters came back? Are they really going to award a Netflix movie? Um, and that narrows it down to stuff that got like theatrical. It's hard to say if you want to say strictly theatrical releases or just wide theatrical releases because there's a couple of HBO Max movies here
Mm-hmm.
that have wide theatrical releases, but we're also streaming at the same time. But then you've got Belfast, Licorice Pizza, and West Side Story that were completely theaters, completely. And I was leaning for a while towards Licorice Pizza being the sleeper picture contender because of this. But then those hits it took on nominations morning made me back down from that.
Ridiculous.
It's like I said, it's crazy to me. Licorice Pizza only got three. I would have put anything down that it was going to overperform on nominations morning. I did not see the three nominations. There are three above the line nominations that are a big fucking deal, but I did not see it only getting three coming. So I feel like that brings us to Belfast and West Side Story. And we were thinking there also about, do they really want to award West Side Story when this movie, in almost this exact form, has already won 10 Oscars? Um, but then it, once again, kind of, we thought it was falling down because it seemed to underperform at the guilds. So in a sense, if you were looking at the guilds, it overperformed on
Yeah.
nominations. It's still missing a lot of nominations, but it did better than I think we thought it was going to there after its guild hits. So honestly, the only one, the what's that Ultimate Showdown song where it ends with Mr. Rogers in the sweater?
Yep.
Mr. Rogers in this instance sounds like Belfast. But so if I were to pick something that wasn't Power of the Dog, it would probably be Belfast. Though then again, I feel like we're continuously underestimating how much they apparently do love West Side Story. So I just don't know what to do with myself. But part of me is saying go safe and say Power of the Dog. But as we've seen before and we've talked about before, and we have an example as recent as Parasite, and not too long before that, Spotlight. Um, Even if you win PGA and you look like the front runner, it might be SAG that's the death of you, which is very interesting. So I could still easily say Power of the Dog and not necessarily think it's gonna win picture. So, and I honestly really feel like I should predict that curveball, but every time I start to say Belfast, I I get an image. It's not that I come across one. It's that I've come across so many I can just see it. It's planted firmly in my brain now. Those fucking ads that say nominated for 12 Academy Awards. The Power of the Dog. That's a big ass fucking number.
And I mean, it's not going to, obviously, but it could go home empty handed.
I can see the scenarios where that would happen, but yeah, I definitely don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I don't. But I mean, it's still,
You're saying it could be The Irishman and The Color Purple, etc.
yeah,
I think Gangs of New York might be in there too.
American Hustle.
Yes.
Never let me forget that one.
True Grit, I believe, as well, sadly. Still blows my mind True Grit didn't win cinematography, but that's another conversation. Um, so yeah, I'm real stuck here. Power of the Dog or Belfast is where I'm at right now, with a great fear that I'm underestimating West Side Story. So I think what I'm going to do is say I'm just gonna go safe. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say the power of the dog. That fucking 12 is intimidating me into saying it. So, but I'm as far as between those two or three, I would love a Belfast upset. That would be amazing. It'd make the general public hate it. They'd say like, "Oh, some stupid black and white movie that's boring Oscar bait won." Of course it did, but it's like, and they'll be acting like it was that case the whole time when it wasn't. If it takes the reins now, that will be a big theft from the power of the dog. But just fuck what those people say. They're complete and total idiots. I'm gonna say the power of the dog. What do you say?
What you got, Ashley?
On the logic that whatever is going to win here isn't going to win Best Picture. Because I always have to go with that now, after being so right on Spotlight and so right on Parasite the last two times. That's why I'm going with Power of the Dog. Because I think there will be an upset. I think it's going to get enough rewards that the Academy might be like, we'll give it a chance, and then one of the other 9 wins. So I think the PGA will probably give it to Power of the Dog, but then the wider actual field of voters may feel otherwise.
I really want to give this to Licorice Pizza, but I can't give a point away like that. I mean, I want it to happen. It should happen. It deserves to happen. Just not going to happen. Not this year. There's a reason I kind of pivoted from Kushner here before when it comes to WGA, because I was thinking, well, maybe Kushner wins WGA, maybe West Side Story wins PGA, and then that just kills it for the Oscars. But I don't know. That could go that way too. If it overperforms, maybe it's not overperforming. It's exactly what it's supposed to do. So that's a possibility. But way too much visibility for the original. So it's anyone's guess what they're going to go for, which obviously they are going to go for it, but how and what extent, we don't know yet. I want to throw a Hail Mary to something here, but I'm not going there yet. I'll be there soon. I'm not going there yet. AJ knows what I'm talking about. He's the only one that does, and everyone will soon know what I mean. I would love if Belfast won this. The rewatch made me like the movie even more, honestly, and I understand why it is in the position that it's in right now. As long as Brando doesn't take PTA's Oscar away, I'm good. But at the end of the day, I would not be surprised one bit if Belfast walks out with this. But that being said, since I'm not banking on it winning the Oscar, just like Ashley alluded to as well, I'm going to go with Power of the Dog.
So, staying on this while also going into another show that we're about to talk about. Now that we've all gone Power of the Dog, one thing we can probably bring up is theories on the SAG Ensemble snub. Because, like, with Nomadland, it makes sense because most of them were non-actors.
Sure, of course.
But I mean, Power of the Dog is an ensemble cast.
It is.
Of anything but non-actors. For as strong as Power of the Dog is, that's a very interesting snub.
Mm-hmm.
So not to say it's gonna kill the movie or anything, but yeah, it's an interesting one that you can't explain away as much as you can Nomadland.
I don't. Okay. I need to get in a couple of these messages real quick before we go. Josie has put a couple things down. I want to get some opinions here. The Don Bluth movies. All Dogs Take a Shot. Land Before Time. All Dogs Go to Heaven. American Tail, and We're Back.
Mm-hmm.
Just thoughts, comments, opinions.
I'm not. He's Secret of Nim too, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
I I grew up on The Land Before Time, but apart from that, as a kid, I was kind of bored with this movie. It's like I could never get into An American Tail. I
Mm.
actually like Travel Goes West more. um, but yeah, I couldn't really. I never really had that connection, and I never really found it much in adulthood. Even though I still have, I still feel something for Land Before Time, and quite honestly, its 20,000 sequels aren't that bad either. So, but yeah, isn't oh, what's that? Isn't Rockadoodle his too?
I think
It's
so.
a very, it's a roller coaster of quality. But I could never, apart from Land Before Time, I was never able really to connect to him, unfortunately.
I loved An American Tail growing up. It's one thing I always gravitated towards. Five Goes West was good. Land Before Time, I always remember because of the because of the Pizza Hut promotion. I remember when that used to be part of the personal pan Pizza Hut promotion. They were like little dinosaurs. That was kind of cool. Like little puppet gimmicks, kind of like Eureka's Castle. Wow, I'm dating myself here. Needless to say, I'll get away from that. Josie says AJI 2 can see a strictly theatrical release winning PGA. Yeah.
Are are the three we mentioned the only three? I think they are.
What do you mean?
Well, Being the Ricardos was on Amazon.
Mm.
Coda was Apple. Don't Look Up is Netflix. Doom was HBO Max. King Richard was HBO Max. Power of the Dog was Netflix, and Tick Tick Boom was Netflix. If we're looking at the PGA lineup.
Mm.
Yeah, the Oscar lineup has Nightmare Alley and Drive My Car, so
One of
that's
two bad. Josie says people who say they helped take a shot say they hate Belfast or just saying they hate Belfast to be cool and unique when they sound disingenuous.
yeah. There's no people that say about Belfast. There's no fucking way they've seen it. No
Belfast is
way.
so good. My second viewing, like I said before, just like make me like really, really appreciate the movie even more so. Brian says, speaking of the public, you guys heard of that Oscar fan favorite contest going on. According to many sites, apparently Cinderella's in the leading film for the public's favorite of 2021.
Why in the goddamn fuck are they still trying to push this?
We
What
killed
is
this
the,
once before.
Hold
We
on.
can, guys.
Apparently number two, because they're trying to mount a sort of retaliation to the Cinderella move, is Army of the Dead. So it's going
I
to be
don't get
between
what are they
them.
trying to.
Of all the ones that you'd have thought they'd have tried to mobilize the Marvel fans to try and get Spider-Man to win it, and I honestly thought that was going to be it, and now it's just becoming the hijack thing.
Yeah, what I really don't get is I don't get. I mean, I think we've been through this before, but this obsession they have with trying to get like attention drawn to the Oscars. Like, why not just kind of like it's one night of the year? Why not just stick to the audience you have?
Yeah.
Like, is it really that? Do you really need that much trying to draw attention to? Like, what? Like, they're so. And like the way we see those numbers come out every year that mean nothing about, oh, ratings are getting lower and lower every year, but it's like who cares? Like, why is that so important to everybody
If
that they
ratings
have to do shit like this?
if ratings were that important, they'd nominate the most popular performers for best song just so they could get the best ratings. That's clearly not their point.
And it just this is I mean, I know it sounds like this is much smaller than hey, we're gonna add another category to the show. I feel like this is just as stupid
Mm.
because it's even more pointless. Like, what even is? And I don't need like and say like I would like to think whatever's gonna win, if it's ridiculous enough, they're just gonna say we're not even gonna say like it's not even gonna be oh we're fading to commercials. By the way, this won the poll. Don't even mention it on the show. Just put it on your fucking Twitter feed and leave it at that, because that's where it belongs in the fucking disgusting cesspool underworld that is Twitter. And I don't get why I don't care. And it's And I know it's one of those things that you can just like. It'll probably be really easy to ignore.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's probably not even something to get worked up about. But I mean, it's just this weird desperation they have to try to fix this ratings thing in ways that are never going to work, and if anything, make them more of a mockery. It's like just stick to what you're doing. Just do the thing. Just do the fucking thing. Give the famous people the gold trophies, and then we'll all go home and we'll be back next year, the ones that care.
Yeah.
Because we're here. Believe it or not, we're here. But it's and I don't know how much they think it's like because obviously at the end of the day, it's just kind of like advertising.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if they win, more people will go see them. That's pretty much all it is at the end of the day. But then you have your weird people that are 100% convinced that the Academy's trying to convince us that these are the objective best and not just voted on by 6,000 people that are in the industry. That's why you have these idiots, this constant barrage of idiots, every time a nominations list comes out or a winners list comes out that says, oh, it should have been this thing or it should have been this thing. Or they'll say, oh, it should have been this thing that was never even close to this fucking race. And it's like for the people like us that just see it as a race, where it's like I said, I don't get being all up in arms about what wins. And I said it's so incredibly rare for my favorite movie of the year to actually win. I don't think it's happened since 2007, since No Country for Old Men. But this is still like my favorite movie time of year because this is just a fun thing to do. And it's weird how much people are so fixated on the seriousness of it, I guess you could say.
It gets
I
even
don't.
it gets even worse. I've looked into it. The only reason
Okay.
Army of the Dead is in there because the actual number one would be Zack Snyder's Justice League, but it isn't eligible.
I had a feeling.
And
What's
then
funny is that
go ahead.
I've seen Army of the Dead. I did a review video for Army of the Dead. It is so goddamn forgettable. I had to sit here for a second and try to remember what it was when you said its name just now.
And then the other one that apparently is trying to gain momentum is Minamata because it's the Johnny Depp fans that are trying to help him. So it's not actually about people's favourite, it's trying to sway public opinion on things outside of like if it's actually the best film.
Oh yeah, this'll be what accomplishes that. You fucking morons.
The opinions of AJ are most likely considered the same opinions of Podcast Network, but
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's liberating.
I can't.
You do that a lot. I still haven't figured out what that means. Every time you do it, I think this will be the context where I finally figure out what that means.
The great thing is there's also other people on
Is
Twitter that are actually saying, well, if this wins, they actually get an Oscar, right? And they never bothered to look into it.
I'm gonna interpret it as some form of go fuck yourself or something. Like that's. Oh,
Andy.
that looks like a Frankenstein monster. Is that I'm rooting for Branagh? What is that?
Anyway, I don't watch anymore. Josie says, I like Land Before Time, Land of the Midst. I voted for Licorice Pizza 10 times already for the fan favorite. Thank you for trying to fight the good fight, Josie, but we're going to lose, sadly.
Yeah, if it was something, I mean, it's a stupid idea completely anyway, but I mean, if it was at least something that was close to contention, it might not be that bad, but it's the fact that you just knew this is what was going to happen from the get-go. It's like, why? Why would you put anything in Twitter's hands? Like, I can't.
I don't have words. Oh, thingsfalling.com. Brian says if they want a fan favorite, right, many critics will say Mass, Chatan, Green Knight, Shiva Baby, etc. Josie says sport ratings are too low. Thoughts on the Oscar? His words, not mine. Brian says thoughts on the stupid Oscar host choice.
Oh, Schumer.
I don't. Well, here's the thing.
And Regina Hall, right?
Hall. What's that?
Regina Hall.
Yeah. I think it's a stupid idea, not because of who they chose, but because the host is barely there anyway. So you're literally, they might as well just be, they're glorified presenters is all they're going to be if they each get an hour.
And they did all that.
They're going to each come out once, have a brief monologue, and leave.
They did all that rumor hype with like Tom Holland and everything to try and get interest up from the public. And then they just buckle and go, let's go with some female comedians that are not probably everyone's cup of tea.
I don't hate Amy Schumer the way most people do, but then again, I've never seen her comedy. I've only seen her in movies, which probably helps. I think Wanda Sykes could do it by herself, and I think Regina Hall could probably do it by herself. But this whole structure is because isn't it something like he who the fuck is the guy that's doing it? I can't remember. It's the guy that did fucking Girls Trip, right? That's like the producer. And it's like I don't get. First of all, I don't get what I don't understand is why they keep trying to theme it, because they always abandon it. Like there was the year where they were like, don't bother thanking names. We're going to do a name scroll at the bottom of the screen. And then halfway through the broadcast, they gave up on that. And then Soderbergh's whole thing was supposed to feel like a movie. It was going to have like opening credits, and then it was going to do all that. They just abandoned that after the opening. And now this whole thing of we want it to have like a 3-act structure or whatever the fuck that is. They're not going to stick to that either, because they don't stick to anything they say. They just do the fucking show, realize they're running out of time, and then just speed through everything. So I don't get what all this stupid planning is that isn't going to go anywhere. I don't know why they're starting to get like directors trying to movieify the show to make it more exciting. And it's like the producers, like back like in the 90s and shit, when it was just producers producing, that seemed to be working just fine, because it was just literally a show. They weren't trying to turn it into something that it's never going to be.
Well, here's the thing. It's like we wait. Okay, obviously, if you're watching this show right now, chances are you're one of us. You care about the award season. You're not just going to watch this show randomly. It's not going to just pop up in your feed. You're watching the show because you're a fan of the award season. You follow the award season. We wait all year long for this damn show, and we want every single second to be enjoyable in one way or another, whether it is something we like, something whether we hate, something to get us talking. And that's why we have that recap show the next day, so we've set on it completely after Ashley and I go live for the entire freaking thing and talk about everything one by one, like it's Mystery Science Theater 3000. But at the end of the day, when you're speeding and speeding and speeding through just to try to take it home because we're running way too late on time, that's a problem.
Last year, when they literally fucking hit fast forward during the in memoriam.
Hell, that was bad.
That is, I can't believe the fucking lows the last show reached. That was.
It's just bad, and it's like if you don't care about the ratings, care about the fact. I mean, obviously ratings are important. I mean, I worry about ratings every Thursday and every weekend, obviously. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's kind of like if they cared so much about ratings, they stuff the ballot box and nominate things that people cared about. The GP, not us.
And it's what we do. Like, if all else fails, if there's nothing you're passionate about, but for some reason you're still watching the show for some reason, and you're bored, do predictions, and then it's a fucking game. It's that simple. Make bets on it if you want it to be exciting.
Yeah.
Make like when foreign or sound or the shorts are happening, and you're like, oh, who cares about these? Make bets on them. Then they're exciting. Then you'll know which one everyone is.
Why else do we do bloody predictions?
Yeah.
That's how we get our excitement.
Well, it's like, or if you are lucky enough to be in an area where you can go to a red carpet event at a local movie theater and literally live it up like you're actually at the Oscars. Dress up, watch the actual show with everybody, like, make it feel important. Have Oscar parties. Lorraine was talking about that last show.
What was this thing you were talking about? About voting in this stupid Twitter bullshit and being able to go. Because when you were talking about somebody winning a chance to go, I'm
Yeah.
thinking a back row seat at that red carpet thing that nobody sees. And you were saying that it was more than that.
So it's a competition that is on the Oscar.com website. And basically, you can win. If you win the competition, you're going to get to, I don't know how this is going to work. You get to go to the Oscars next year. You get to be one of the presenters of an award.
There's no fucking way.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah,
There's no fucking way. I mean, if that's real, like if what you're saying is accurate, no fucking way they follow through with it. No way.
The thing
Because
that,
I
the
think you
thing
also
that
said there
I
was
saw,
fine print.
the thing that the Academy put up, it just says for a chance to win a trip to the Oscars.
read the fine print, Ashley. Because I did.
I'm trying to.
As
The great thing
Because
is I
the-
can't
because you
even
were
enter,
saying-
so it
One of-
probably is. It's probably region blocked. I need a VPN.
What you were saying before was one of the pieces of fine print was you would be actually presenting an award with a celebrity, but there was no guarantee that you would have lines, which
That-
basically means you're gonna have some random ass fuck that could be anybody up there on stage with fucking Jeremy Renner or somebody, and it's gonna be Jeremy Renner just sort of talking with some awkward fuck standing next to him silently. And
Yep.
there's no way this is a real thing. There's
it's something.
and it's gonna be and somebody
Crazy.
that will literally be in the building and able to mingle. Like who? There's no way this happens.
It does say, and I remember reading it to you, that you have to be on your best behavior.
Oh, that's trust. Yeah, tell somebody to be on their best behavior. That's gonna make them behave. Look at Sacha Baron Cohen doing his Ali G thing. You can't even get him to behave, and he's been nominated 3 times.
So apparently, the Oscars cheer moment thing, they're going to establish the top 5, and then there's going to be voting on those 5 from between Thursday the 24th and March the 3rd, which is Thursday as well. Yeah.
What is that?
So for 2 weeks. And the Oscars
Or-
fan favorite voting closes at the same time because reasons.
Hold on, I'm trying to get the actual word here because I want to make sure I at least have it. Because I read this directly from my phone to you verbatim when I was talking to you on the phone the other day.
I was telling you also where it's like this probably so-called random thing, if it's actually a thing, will probably be, oh, by the way, you have to look like a supermodel. Like we're not gonna have Angus Bethune on stage or anything like that. Like
No.
it's just
Probably not. Okay, hold on. Academy will select 3 lucky Twitter users. Oh god, this is such a horrible idea. Okay, take a shot. Beginning on Valentine's Day, Twitter users can cast their vote for fan favorite by tweeting the title of a film along with the hashtags Josie was talked about a little bit ago. Any film could be nominated as long as it's released in 2021. Voting can be done up to 20 times per day. I was like Dancing with the Stars all over again. Winning film will be announced during the Academy Awards. Academy will select 3 lucky Twitter users for an all-expense paid trip to LA, presenting an Oscar at the 2023 ceremony.
Yeah, each grand prize winner will receive a 3-day, 2-night trip for the winner and a guest who must be 21 or older, to attend the Academy Awards scheduled to take place in late March 2023 and be a guest presenter. Trip consists of round-trip air transportation and guests between a major airport near the winner's home in LA. 2 nights accommodation, 1 standard room, double occupancy. We're not putting you in a fancy hotel. We're just putting you in a Holiday Inn. Round-trip ground transportation between LA airport and the hotel, and between the hotel and the venue, and a $250 American Express gift card. The
You're asking,
the total value apparently of the package is $1,650, roughly.
This has to end with 3 people being selected, and then them. By the time the next show comes around, they will say, "Okay, so this was a terrible idea. We totally changed our minds. Here's a little here. Instead of 250 gift card, we'll give you 500. Please go away and don't bother us anymore."
If grand prize winner is unable to attend, they will be disqualified, will forfeit the grand prize without compensation of any kind, and an alternate winner may be selected.
you can show up on the
What if all three of them die? What happens then? Does the fan favorite basically become real life Final Destination?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
You can.
It'd be a fun fictional concept. I do not want real people to die.
Here's the thing. We're talking about this because obviously it's topical at this point. Now, they don't have to. It doesn't say they're going to necessarily be on the Oscar stage. It says they're going to present an award. They could present an award on the red carpet or off the red carpet, and they still get away with what they said.
Functioning as a guest presenter. Much more realistic. Functioning as a guest presenter, because I managed to find it from the actual thing. Functioning as a guest presenter has no cash value and is subject to availability, the producer's requirements and regulations, including code of acceptable conduct, restrictions, and production exigencies. That's a word I don't know.
For all intents and purposes, you're a seat filler.
Winner understands and agrees that sponsors' liability will be limited to the award of remaining elements of the grand prize if they're denied the opportunity to function as guest presenter for any reason, whether or not reasonably foreseeable by sponsor. Sponsor will determine any and all aspects of winner's role as a guest presenter, including but not limited to category, co-presenters, if any.
Yep.
Whether or not winner will have any dialogue as a guest presenter, the duration of the winner's participation as a guest presenter, and attribution and identification of a winner. They might just say, here's a random person. They didn't actually win it. It's just to go out some bum off the street.
I say, if anything, they can just hire like plants and say these are the winners when they're just hired.
Seat fillers, just like I said, seat fillers is unlimited. It's on the internet, straight up.
That's it. All I can imagine now is Kramer coming back to Jerry's apartment with Raquel Welch's Tony.
Yes. Oh God, yes. Chat while we're here. AJ's gonna have a conniption here in about 2 seconds, hasn't he already? Basically, don't buy this narrative that indie and art house films are the reason for low ratings because they nominated indies in the 90s and the 2000s when Miramax was a player. Blame it more on politics, says Josie.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction was fucking huge and was technically an indie movie.
Yeah.
That's just one example. That's one example.
Yeah. I mean, I keep saying this. I say this every single time. It doesn't matter, but the wrestler beat the Hurt Locker, and the Hurt Locker won Best Picture. So there you go. Deservingly so. Cinderella would be more for the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award, says Brian. While we were in these discussions, I finished Homecoming a few minutes ago. Also, you can blame NBC. Trent Walker says amen. Indeed. Brian says liars. If you want an unknown person who was at the Oscars, Lupita Nyong'o's brother.
At least he was Lupita Nyong'o's brother. Like he was the guest of somebody that won.
Brian says, I'd rather win a contest if you get all 23 categories right. That's fair. This show's all over the place tonight, guys. It really is.
Something I've also noticed, because I was looking at what is going on with this, because it's actually somehow on the Wikipedia page as well. There were to be announced, because obviously the 5 nominations for the cheer moment thing have yet to be revealed, but they're actually doing the Governor's Awards like 2 days before the actual Oscars, like back in the old days, not like 3 months before. So Danny Glover and Samuel L. Jackson are getting their Oscars on the 25th with the ceremony on the... So they'll be getting their Oscars on the Friday with the ceremony itself on the Sunday.
I can't wait to see an Oscar in Samuel Jackson's hand. I can't fucking wait.
It's like pretended. Josie says, "Want Guy Fieri to host the Oscars as a joke."
The catering will be amazing.
Chicken Guy for the win. Gotta love that Flavor Town. Trent says, "You guys are awesome." Thanks, Trent. We appreciate that. You get the Bill Jacobson Orange Cat thumbs up for that. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah, this is just crazy the way things are. Is like, didn't we already, like, literally, we killed a category that the Oscars was going to have. We did a show on it, and then right after that, poof, it was gone. So
you say that a lot. That video has like 80 views or something.
Doesn't
But
matter. It only takes one person to be like, "We're making a bad decision. Let's worry about it later." It makes me feel better.
Speaking of Samuel Jackson getting the honorary Oscar, obviously Spike Lee is getting honored at DGA, which is amazing. And that's I had an epiphany right after we did a show recently, where I said, now that we've had Cuarón and Branagh, we've got Spielberg's coming up. Who is the next director that's gonna do their life story, like their childhood?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody in the chat said Spike Lee. That's Crooklyn.
Yeah.
So Spike Lee already has this. It's like as soon as we ended the show, I was like, "Fuck, Crooklyn."
I mean, okay, so we didn't bring it up yet. AJ and I have already talked about it. I know it's weird because AJ doesn't watch any trailers. He hears them, of course, but doesn't watch them. Because everybody knows if you're in the network, AJ doesn't watch trailers. He goes into stuff completely blind, and then he hears things. That's about it. So a trailer dropped recently for one of my favorite directors on planet Earth, Baz Luhrmann. Directed one of the greatest of all time, Moulin Rouge. And if you don't agree with me, you know what you can do with your hat. Needless to say, I'm very happy that very soon we'll be off Broadway to the point that it'll probably end up in Dr. Phillips the next couple of years. So can't wait for that one. But that being said, he's doing an Elvis movie. And it's funny and quite ironic if you look at the start of some of these podcasts where you see two specific people side by side. And it's funny because the correlation is finally there.
Hang on.
Tom Hanks' version of Colonel Tom Parker has the absolute same voice as Danhausen. You cannot tell me I'm wrong.
I wouldn't say it's Danhausen. It's more sort of like, it's more akin to like an older version of his character from The Terminal.
It's Danhausen if he was in the Newsies universe. And I want that right now to happen. So I think it's
like
Ashley.
Do you mean like jovial musical Newsies or like Robert Duvall really over the top Newsies?
Yes.
All of the
100%.
above. All of the above.
So yes, we could call Ashley the amazing Kreskin for 2022 because he is the prognosticator that realized that Tom Hanks and Danhausen need to be the same person.
Duvall makes sense. Comparing him to Duvall in Newsies makes sense because if I remember the story correctly, Colonel Tom Parker is essentially a villain, is he not?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense.
I love the Cowfish has officially left the building, and I love me some Tupelo-style tenders. And we'll talk about Ellis later on. Brian says they're going to be cheer that are going to contain...
Yeah.
Going to contain spoilers for these, especially No Way Home. Okay.
I guess if that's the case, when we get to the actual Academy predictions, that'll be where the cutoff for spoilers will happen if they get brought up in the cheer thing. Not that we're actually it's not gonna actively be part of the thing, because we're gonna try and work out what the Twitter hive mind is thinking. That's concerning in every way, but you know. Also, Owen, let's go back about 20 minutes. What's your prediction for the PGA?
I already said it.
I can't remember.
I'm going with everything. I'm going with everybody's same prediction.
Doogie Howser.
Yeah, Power of the Dog.
Doogie Howser.
Do I want that to be the case? No, but it's gonna happen. Here's the thing, though, and I will address this right now before we go into Josie's question and getting back to predictions. Because we're going to turn around like a Foley promo. We're going to start one way, go all over the place, and then back where we're supposed to start. Here's the thing. Contrary to popular belief, because I saw a message that was left on one of the videos a while back, says, I don't like Power of the Dog. That couldn't be further from the truth. I guess I would say at this point, I'm never a major, unless I absolutely love a movie, I'm never a fan when something starts taking off and just becomes unbeatable. I hate that. I hate that so much. Maybe I'm just jealous because my movies never do that. But yeah, I don't dislike Power of the Dog. Once again, I will say this right now: Cody Smith-McPhee should not be running away with this award at all. But it could be worse. Easily, could be a whole lot worse. And very soon, I will have seen Troy Kotzer's performance, and I cannot wait to finally see Coda this weekend so I can find out what everybody is talking about. I may have a new horse in the race. I may be like, yeah, okay, maybe not. It just depends. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to think of Coda. I think it looks good. That's all I can really say. Josie says, speaking of Tom Hanks, what about Burbs and Joe versus the Volcano?
I hear the Burbs.
Yeah, AJ loves the Burbs. Like,
I could talk
himself.
I could talk the Burbs with you all day. I could quote every single one of Bruce Dern's lines right now.
That's a straight shoot. I 100% know this to be correct.
Not a huge fan of Joe versus Volcano, but it's been a long ass time since I saw it.
All right. Josie said, Power of the Dog loses PGA. Which of the SAG 5 do you think will most likely beat it? We'll get there. Don't worry. I'm gonna go out. I am gonna go out on a limb in just a few minutes. We'll get to that in a second. Brian says, "You say Power of the Dog is better than Nomadland?" Yes, absolutely. Everybody knows how much I dislike Nomadland from last season.
I'd like to think a lot of people would say Power of the Dog is better than Nomadland. I would.
Oh, easily. And Nomadland is a movie that I say that I don't dislike, but I just every time I watched it, I just didn't like it more. Weirdly enough, I got really sick of things winning over and over. Again, it's the same thing we talk about. Like, I hate it when something becomes unbeatable, and then Nomadland just comes out of nowhere. I'm like, when it wins everything, and I'm like, I don't want this to win, and it does. It's like it makes me dislike it more. But then again, you get things like Green Book, which is universally not liked for a winning picture, and I watched it, absolutely loved the thing. And we always go back to my greatest prediction in the history of ever that I will never, ever do again, and that's Crash, which is so divisive with the community, to say the least. Josie says, thoughts on the Money Pit?
That's another one where it's been a while. I remember I love seeing the Money Pit in clips.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that I like it as a whole, if that makes sense.
It's the perfect
I like a lot of the individual bits. The slapstick bits really work.
Yeah.
But because I just love that, like how much of a big name in comedy Hanks was in the 80s. It's something you don't think about too much now because of his prestige.
Oh yeah.
But he was like a top comedic actor in the 80s.
Yes, easily.
And slapstick was one of the things he like kind of mastered.
Josie agrees with me, and I think I've said this for a while, and I'm pretty sure we've said this a time or two. Nomadland was I liked it when it was a documentary, but the narrative aspect just felt like filler.
Yeah, I'd go as far as to say I really like Nomadland, but I never really think about it.
No.
And I never and it's like I don't really have an urge to like rewatch it.
No.
Like within the next 5 years at least.
This'll hang on, I need to change my thing so I can actually see Owen's face. The only thing I can say about Nomadland is mid.
Yeah, that's a very fair point, Ashley. Lorraine, welcome. I'm late, but I'm here. Well, better late than never, Lorraine. Welcome back. We are currently getting ready to go into DGAs.
Yeah, so it's a good time to come in late because this is one of those nights where we barely make progress.
This is what happens when Owen has to be at work at 10:30 versus when Owen has to be at work at 8:30. The only thing I have to do tonight is I'm going to go out. I'm going to work out for an hour. I'm going to come back here and do a fitness class for 20 minutes, and then I can relax for a little bit because I have to be up in the morning to run before I go to work. That being said, DGA. No.
Are we here now? Everything froze for a second.
Yeah.
You just
we're going.
turned to a random horror movie for a second there. I was like, all of a sudden you're there, and the next thing you know,
All right. So the order I have here from bottom to top is first feature, documentary, then feature. I want to start with documentary.
Okay.
Where we have Ascension, Attica, Exterminate All the Brutes, Summer of Soul, and The Rescue. This is, I'm assuming not as easy as it looks.
Maybe.
Because once again, your knee-jerk reaction is Questlove.
Yep.
And I kind of just want to say Questlove to make this easy, but it's because I would say The Rescue is its competition.
That sounds about right.
Even though Ascension and Attica are Oscar nominees. Even though Ascension and Attica are Oscar nominees and The Rescue isn't, I would still say I would pick The Rescue if I don't go with Questlove.
Mm.
But I'm going to speed things up and play it safe again. And I'm going to stick with Questlove with not a lot of confidence.
Okay.
There's not much else we can do discussion-wise because it's stuff that's here versus stuff at the Oscars, and it's just a guessing game.
It's very true. Ashley?
It's confusing because I'm trying to look at some of the other people and whatever that are in this, and Raoul Peck, who did Exterminate All the Brutes, also directed I Am Not Your Negro, which was nominated, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. Didn't win. But the really confusing thing is, Exterminate All the Brutes is an HBO miniseries.
Okay.
So part of me is wondering whether that's going to win because it can't win the Oscars because it's ineligible. I'm still going with Questlove, but
yeah, being a miniseries could work in its favor because that's the longer it is, the more invested people are.
Also the best thing, Josh Hartnett plays White Man.
Oh, that's a thing. All right. I don't have anywhere to go from that. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The Rescue jumped out at me here.
Okay.
And it makes sense to not discount your original snap judgment. I've kind of made the mistake of doing that time and out, and it kind of has bit me in the behind many times. So that being said, literally got to go with my roots here, Questlove.
So the band leader for Colbert's show and now Fallon's show could potentially be Oscar winners.
That is correct.
It's very interesting.
Wynton Marsalis, you're next on the hit parade.
And not to mention that I think it's Tariq that's in Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah.
Where he auditions for Cats because that seems hilarious. All
Race
right.
starring Jimmy Fallon. Gotta love it.
Speaking of Tick Tick Boom,
Oh yeah.
for first feature, we have The Lost Daughter, Passing, Prayers for the Stolen, Tick Tick Boom, Pig, and Shiva Baby. I've seen all of these. Wow. Um, yeah, I watched Prayers for the Stolen thinking it could possibly get into foreign, and shock surprise, it's another children suffering movie. Because it wouldn't be Oscar season without children suffering movies.
Apparently not.
I mean, obviously, my heart is hoping that Miranda is in this. The obvious choice is Gyllenhaal, but then again, um,
Not.
wasn't it a big joke all season that Bradley Cooper lost this in 2018 when he seemed like the Trump? I was trying to remember who beat him. I can't remember to save my life.
Bo Burnham?
He won. He won the Writers Guild. Did he? Did he take this too?
I
Yeah,
think
he did.
so. Yeah.
He totally did. You've got
Okay.
You've got Alex Garland for Ex Machina, Garth Davis for Lion, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Bo Burnham for Eighth Grade, and Alma Harrell for Honey Boy. And then Darius Smarter for Sound of Metal.
So Martyr was the obvious choice last year, right?
Oh God, yes. A lot of people were thinking it would be King though, because of the love for One Night in Miami. And Zeller was in there for the father as
Yeah,
well.
Zeller was certainly in there as an opportunity as well because of the momentum Father did have.
Yes.
I love Martyr, but Zeller should have had that. I feel like it could be somewhat random. I don't know if you'd call Miranda random. Um, Salomon will be really inspired, but I think I'm just gonna say Maggie Gyllenhaal because like just looking it over, it's like I'm just not really feeling anybody else anyway. And Gyllenhaal was already my knee-jerk reaction anyway, so
Sure. Ashley.
It's between the two. I'll say Miranda. I'm really sort of like on the fence about whether they'll give it to Miranda or whether they'll give it to Gyllenhaal. So I'll go with Miranda. Let's go with it. Let's go with an off the cuff. Well, not off the cuff. Off the safe route. Maybe.
Yeah, did you had to steal my thunder as always, man. I could go inspired and go with Oscar. But my first thought right off the top was it's down to 3. Once again, do not doubt Rebecca Hall here. She's number 3, I would say, but I mean she's here. Gyllenhaal's the obvious choice. I mean, I don't have a problem with Gyllenhaal winning because I really like The Lost Daughter a lot more than I thought I would. Like it's got like favorite vibes for me. Like that's the best way to describe a movie that I really didn't think I would like that I absolutely really enjoyed. But yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
and the big one.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, it's PTA, Branagh, Campion, Spielberg, and Villeneuve. And
Right.
you know that I would love for them to make a choice here that says, I'm sorry the Oscars fucked up, but I'm really curious if anybody's going to say anybody that's not Campion. Because I know I'm saying Campion. I would love to say there'll be a turning point here, but it seems like the guilds are much more likely to make sudden turns in PGA than they are here.
Yeah.
More often than not, the obvious director stays the obvious director. The only time I can think of in recent memory, I mean, it's very recent with the whole Mendez thing, but I mean, apart from Mendez, I feel like director has always been oh yeah, it was always going to be that person for a while thing.
Let's have a quick look at the history of it. While I
was
also say
that
that
right now.
I'm going for Campion. So
before I let's go in and chat real quick. Josie said, speaking of Jurassic World debuts, Spielberg, irony, first film was technically Firelight he made in school, but it's so hard to find. I wonder if someone will curate it onto Blu-ray.
Yes, Shyamalan's got something like that too, where it's like when you're looking for a director's like very first movie, like Shyamalan's first movie, you can only find like on YouTube, and it's like the shittiest quality, and it's in like no other form.
Well, we look at the lineups here, and something jumps to mind immediately, and it's weird to think about it. Now, my heart says PTA. I want to go that route. I can't. But somebody does come to mind that's not Campion. And I said that I don't dislike Power of the Dog, but I hate the fact that Campion is unbeatable right now. We need real competition for her. I don't think that's going to happen. Not at this point. But if there's anybody that can do it, he's been nominated 12 times and has won 3 times, but hasn't won since 1998. This could be Spielberg's win. It really could be. I'm not going out on a limb and making that choice, but I really could see Spielberg winning this. Anything to break the monotony of Jane Campion winning everything. I'm sick of it, 100%. I love Power of the Dog. I understand why she's winning. I don't want it to happen anymore. Spielberg is the person I'd love to see take her down. It's not going to happen. Jane Campion's winning this. And it's just one more step to the Oscar.
And I gotta throw out my mandatory, since it can't be Villeneuve. If anybody was gonna beat Campion, I would love to see Branagh start taking shit. But yeah.
I
After
honestly think he's the more likely second candidate. I don't want to rule out Villeneuve altogether, but I think it's between Branagh and Campion, at least in DGA.
I think Spielberg's more of a contender here. I really do.
Then
I
again,
mean, I feel like we're all just
Campion got snubbed, if you want to call it that, for Piano to Schindler's List, nearly 30 years ago.
Yeah, she gets a job again.
I I'm not trying to get my hopes up or anything, but as far as Villeneuve being here, I do also feel like we're all just sort of waiting for that year to come along. That's where we see what happened with Ron Howard in Apollo 13, where he won DGA without being nominated.
Yep.
I really want to be alive to see that happen again at some point.
Well, it brings me back to Affleck and Argo.
Oh shit, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that settles that. Because I'm so used to that now. I guess I keep forgetting that Affleck didn't got snubbed and didn't fucking win the thing.
Affleck and Big
I'm sorry, Ang Lee. Life of Pi is amazing, and you totally deserve that. I just tend to forget that Affleck was snubbed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, it's clear that this could possibly be anybody. But if Campion loses, I will rejoice. But it's not going to. PTA needs to get something big. I thought this was going to be his year, but everything's just too good this year. Chat real quick. No, oh my dad. Okay, Josie says, unfortunately, DGA is not always the friendliest toward women, and there could be a mentality, oh, we did that last year, why would we do that again this year? That's wishful thinking on behalf of me. Josie, I think we're all under the opinion now that we want to see someone other than Campion win at this point. If anything, just to shake this race up a little bit. Trent says, I'd love to see the movies you guys have done. If one of you could let me know the titles, that would be great. The only person in this lineup that's actually will be a director one day is AJ. And there's a lot of things that have been done, but nothing is official yet. So, future.
Yeah, well, that's a can of worms.
That's, that's
Hopefully, in the somewhat near future, we can answer that question.
yep.
There's like 15 unproduced scripts in the computer that I'm looking at right now that are just sitting here and rotting in their own filth because that's what happened.
Yeah, you kind of saw basically kind of somewhat may have saw one of them this year, but we won't talk about that either.
At the very least, half of one.
Yeah, for sure, half of one. Being the only one in this lineup that's seen that movie. I don't know if Ashley has. I don't know if he did or not. But we don't talk about.
It's
We don't talk about
if it's
Simon
what I
Craig.
think it is. I believe it is either. I think it's opening next month.
Oh, okay.
If it even gets to me, because if it's a small enough release, it probably won't get much chance of me being able to see it. So
I've got a buddy that's working towards potentially his first feature length movie. He's got a shitload of shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like at this rate, I feel like if he succeeds, that's going to be my only. And I'm gonna have to grovel to this dude, and it's like, hey man, do you want me to be like a grip or something?
Well, Howard does like photography for some shorts as well, like some short films that did some local competitions too. That actually won some local awards. So Howard just shoots like photography for those. So again, all over the place. The guilds are done. Now it's time for the televised guild. Let's go SAG.
As I say, this is still a guild. All right. This should be not as bad because I have all but one of these predetermined, which is new for this year.
It's definitely not me.
well, other than the other predetermined one, because we already know that Helen Mirren's got the Lifetime Achievement Award.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna get a montage with Peter Greenaway in it. I can't wait to see how they're gonna do that. All right. So I assume we're starting with stunts in TV.
Let's get it over with.
Or is it?
All right.
Or is it stunts and streaming?
Yeah, still not entirely sure exactly what we're judging when we say stunt ensemble. But our nominees are Cobra Kai, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Mare of Easttown, and Squid Game. And but this, I'm assuming it could be anything. I'm gonna go ahead and say Squid Game.
Ashley.
In terms of the scale of the stunts, I'm probably going with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah. I gotta complain for a second.
Oh,
So, were you gonna elaborate on the Falcon and Winter Soldier before I do that?
I'm trying to work out what we were complaining about.
Like I was saying, I don't know exactly what we're judging with stunt ensemble, but Loki has some of the most dumb shit fight sequences I have ever seen in a show with this much acclaim. So don't know what it's doing here, but like I was talking about before, remember the goof in The Dark Knight Rises where they're fighting on the roof, and that guy in the background just falls over without getting hit?
Yes.
That's what a lot of the fight scenes in Loki look like.
Oh,
Like
So-
the fight, the Dark Order accidentally doesn't hit the guy. It doesn't hit Dustin Rhodes in the face.
So as long as it's not like Loki being here is equivalent to when last year's Mulan got into visual effects. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Wow. So, Ashley, you picked yours. AJ, you picked yours.
yeah.
That's weird because Cobra Kai jumped out at me too here. I feel like this is the streaming award, of course, because there's no television on this. It's all streaming. I feel this is Netflix award to lose, but I feel that it makes sense at this point to give it to Squid Game. Seemed like it was really liked by the guilds. So I'm going to go with it. It's a stunt ensemble, so it could go either way. This could go to anything at this point, honestly. It's a stunt ensemble with the SAG Awards. It could go to any of these 5. But yeah, Squid Game makes sense to me.
I'm trying to do the mistake of looking into the history of stunts in television.
Lorraine says, don't even ask me about Best Actress. I give up on that. Well, we'll get there. Josie says, being a Peter Greenaway, his film Dropman's Contract was a big influence on The Favorite. Watch The Fifth Element 2. Oh, take a shot. Watch The Fifth Element. There's The Fifth Element 2. Watch The Fifth Element 2 nights ago, and Mia Jovovich character has great stunts. Don't know if she had a double or not.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Fifth Element 2, given that Bruce Willis is making apparently a film every week.
As long as he brings the chicken to the set, that's all that matters. Mulan was in stunts last year, along with the winner Wonder Woman 1984. I know someone, Josie, that's like the biggest mark in the world for The Fifth Element. So yeah, that's a thing that I probably should ask her, but I don't know if she would know the answer to that. I'm guessing she probably would. Then again, she's a huge mark for Megan Fox and Jennifer's Body too, so that's another thing. Josie says, that's a random statement. Loki and WandaVision for me started off good, but fell off after the first few episodes, though Loki not as steep of a decline. Sounds like AJ and The Walking Dead.
Oh, Loki's 3rd episode's a fucking disaster, and it's the worst thing through all the series they've done up to this point. But yeah,
there's a reason I don't watch television. Heels season 2 filming very soon.
Wow.
All right, next.
The category that doesn't have an ensemble award for some reason. Miniseries. I guess we're starting with actress in a miniseries.
I gotta find it now. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Where we've got Jennifer Coolidge for The White Lotus, Cynthia Erivo for Genius, Margot Qualley for Maid, Jean Smart for Mayor of Easttown, and Kate Winslet for Mayor of Easttown. I always tend to rule out the supporting ones, which would certainly rule out Jean Smart. I would say Coolidge. Coolidge is technically supporting because it's an ensemble, but she's a big chunk of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly really want to say Coolidge. On another day, I probably would have said Coolidge, but I feel like this is a case where you might be able to just go with the obvious and be okay. So I am going to say Winslet. But then again, who actors choose can sometimes be a curveball. It's like that time when Fosse Verdon was a thing and Rockwell lost all season, and then he won this.
Yeah.
I still love not just his reaction, but everybody's reaction. Like, Jared Harris was so happy for him. You can hear Peter Dinklage screaming behind him. Like, nobody saw the Rockwell thing coming. So anything like that could always happen. I could definitely see actors going for Jennifer Coolidge, but I think I'm gonna stick with Winslet as the safe choice.
Ashley, what do you got?
Probably just because I feel it's a safe choice, at least in my view. Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet for Mayor of Easttown.
I mean, it's funny because you brought it up a little bit ago, Brian. We're talking about Winslet's performance in Rabbit Hole, which AJ and I really loved.
That's Kidman.
I'm tired. God dang it. I quit.
What can I say except that's Kidman?
I'm just not going to talk anymore.
I'm not talking anymore. I'm done.
I'm done.
Well, now I'm curious what the rest of that thought was going to be.
I was trying to put it a rabbit hole. Sorry. talking about the connection to like liking one movie that was a lot better, which of course would be Rabbit Hole versus The Reader, which was just not. So
Are you thinking of Revolutionary Road, maybe?
that's one thing that's coming to mind. Yeah, I love Revolutionary Road. I'm old and I forget things. Needless to say, I'm just an old man. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, Quality comes to mind immediately. Obviously, the Tarantino connection. I think I went with her before, and it like bit me last time.
Yeah, probably a Globe or something.
Yeah, it was Globe actually. Revo comes to mind here too, actually, because someone's got to win an award for playing Aretha Franklin this season.
That clearly was all about it. So
yeah, I'll go with Kate Winslet here.
here's a fun category.
Ignore how stupid I am right now. Brian says, "What would have won ensemble in a miniseries or TV movie this year?"
Maybe Dope Sick?
I'd say Dope Sick or The White Lotus. Those are the ones I'm about.
Yeah. I was gonna say White Lotus would be the deserving one, but I haven't seen Dope Sick, so I can't say that. I just love the White Lotus that much.
And the fact why you're like paused it right now, waiting for Johnny Dangerously.
I probably wouldn't rule out Mayor of Easttown either. Okay, it's got the three sort of big ones in there, but I think there was a lot of good performances from the supporting people as well.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. It's like everybody's good in Mayor of Easttown. It's just hard to say that because almost every character is so fucking hateable. That is like the most despicable group of people I've seen that live in a town since probably fucking Dogville.
Wait, is that another Kidman film?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Aaron Eckhart was overlooked in Rabbit Hole during that season. 100%.
He's so good. He's so good in it.
Oh God, yes.
That scene where he like just hugs the dog is heartbreaking. I don't think I've seen Rabbit Hole in 10 years, and I remember that scene so vividly. And the scene where he blows up at Miles Teller.
Oh yeah.
I really love that movie. It was overlooked in general.
I remember we talked about it like crazy, and like I remember promoting it to everybody. I was like, "Have you ever seen Rabbit Hole?" No. What is that? Watch it.
That's John Cameron Mitchell too.
Yep.
All right, actor in a miniseries.
Yeah, I've redeemed myself. Good, I feel better now. Actor in a miniseries.
All right, Murray Bartlett for The White Lotus. Oscar Isaac for Scenes from a Marriage, Michael Keaton for Dope Sick, Ewan McGregor for Halston, and Evan Peters for Mayor of Easttown. Obviously, I'm rooting for my guy Murray Bartlett. If he should win, I will do a backflip. I was leaning towards Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
I could even lean towards Ewan McGregor. Once again, Evan Peters is really good, but I just kind of tend to stray away from supporting here.
Sure, it's understandable.
So I don't think it's just a biased choice because he's one of my favorite actors that's working at the moment. I feel like it's a performance that actors especially would really, really take to. And I could see them backing Oscar Isaac, and I think I'm going to go with him. Okay. But my obviously I'm not even going towards Murray Bartlett because that's going to be like my wishful thinking. But I mean I really, really want that. But yeah, Keaton's the one I was kind of leaning towards, but I'm gonna stick to this Oscar Isaac thing and see what happens.
All right, Ashley.
I think I'm also gonna go with somebody that I think is popular, at least judging by what the Emmys did, and of course the Emmys is quite a lot of actors as well. So I'm gonna go with Evan Peters.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with Ewan McGregor.
Of course. We talked about Lerman. It's time. And Kidman, for God's sake. It's the whole gang here. Where's Broadbent? Where's Richard Roxburgh?
Gotta be here somewhere.
All right. So, actress in a comedy series?
Yes.
All right. This one could be a curveball, but I feel pretty good about this one.
Okay.
We have Elle Fanning for The Great, Sandra Oh for The Chair, Jean Smart for Hacks, Juno Temple for Ted Lasso, and Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso as well. Um, I don't think it's just because obviously, you can't depend on the Emmys for this, and you can't depend on Globe for this.
No.
It's just gonna be what it's gonna be. So I'm not even thinking about that stuff. But still, just looking at this list, just kind of immediately, Gene Smart's the one that jumped out at me. Um, and that's the thing. That's the thing here is like a lot of people have doubled up at SAG and gotten nothing, and a lot of people double up at SAG and walk away with at least one thing. Or if you're Idris Elba, you get both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just really feeling Gene Smart when I look at this list. So I'm going with my instinct on that.
Okay.
Yeah, the fact that she sort of arguably on paper came out of nowhere to win the Emmy, but has sort of held on with that momentum with the Globe. And again, judging on popularity within the guild and whatever, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Jean Smart. So I'm going with her as well.
I think by process elimination, we always talk about like canceling each other out, which seems like it happens every once in a while, but not all the time. You can't doubt Elle Fanning here at all. Sandra is very popular, has been popular, obviously, since Grey's Anatomy, and it continues to this day. But yeah, honestly, I feel like Hacks was something that did quite well before, and I feel like it's going to do well in here. And yeah, I concur. It's Jean Smart. God, so much chat before we go further.
No.
Brian says, didn't know Miles Teller was in Rabbit Hole till I saw it. Josie says, some of the most overlooked TV performances in the past couple years: Eliza Scanlon for Sharp Objects, Scoot McNairy for True Detective Season 3, and Harry Melling in Queen's Gambit. Thought Melling was better than Thomas Brody Singer. Up here, this is for you, AJ. Melling has proven himself to be a pretty darn good actor. He was great in Buster Scruggs and The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah, I love that he's like a Cohen staple now. And he was also The Devil All the Time. He had a pretty crazy ass role in. He was really good with too.
Josie says Scoot McNairy is a great underrated character actor. Yes, indeed.
I just love that he's everywhere, and yet it's still one of those cases where even though he's in everything, every time he shows up, I'm like, oh, that's amazing, he's there.
He's like Kyle Chandler.
Yeah.
He's
I probably prefer Scoot McNairy to Kyle Chandler, but yeah.
Alrighty. And we are moving on to male actor in a comedy series. Okay, now here's the thing. I know why awards are what they are. If they're not going to nominate actual television shows and just nominate streaming shows, can we just change the name of the actual awards, please?
Are these on?
And
Yeah, they're all
streaming this time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember whether Hacks was just HBO Max or whether it did actually get some sort of HBO run.
It says HBO Max according to Wiki, but
nearly everything is HBO Max. That's the problem.
All right, so the big question about these next two categories are we still on the Ted Lasso thing?
Right.
This is how I just can't tell what's what, and I've talked about this before, but I watched Only Murders in the Building in its entirety last week. And when I watched it, I was under the impression it was a miniseries.
Okay.
But it's not. In fact, I think they're almost done, if not already done, shooting season 2. So when I was watching it, I was trying to remember who the Martins' competition was, and I was thinking of the wrong people. So they're up against Jason Sudeikis, which I didn't know. So, yes. So obviously, with that in mind, we have Michael Douglas for The Kaminsky Method, Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, Steve Martin and Morgan Shore for Only Murders in the Building, and Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. I really want to go with one of the Martins, and I don't think that's just recency bias. It's because I fucking love them in anything. Martin Short has the showier part, so I would be tempted to say him if I went with one of them. But then again, I don't know if we're done with Ted Lasso yet. So I'm really leaning towards just sticking with Jason Sudeikis, and I think I'm gonna go the safe route and say that that's what's going to happen.
All
So,
right.
though I wouldn't like Douglas wouldn't surprise me. I've seen the first two seasons of the Quincy Method. I missed this one because I didn't really have much interest after Arkin left. But so I don't know how he held it by himself. But yeah, just based on what we know and the love for Ted Lasso that exists, and the fact that it's nominated in so many other places, I feel safe just saying it'll be Sudeikis again. They like to repeat actors in this category.
Ashley.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Sudeikis as well, because of course you sort of. I know actors don't acknowledge it for everything else, other work, but given that Sudeikis is also involved, like in the production of it as well, I feel that always sort of has a chance of being a good sort of guide as to, again, somebody that they want to get behind and whatever.
I was checking something here. It feels weird. The first name that popped in my mind, I'm actually going to go with it because I feel like it makes sense. So the Martins would be great. I'd love that. Sudeikis seems to have like everything locked up at this point, but you know what? I'm going to go with Michael Douglas here. I think it's actually, if I remember correctly, it actually did me quite well. And I don't remember which awards show it was a while back, but I remember predicting Douglas and everybody else was predicting Sudeikis, and I don't remember what year it was, and I don't remember what show it was, but I do remember like that happening. So go with it again.
If I remember correctly, I think this was their last one, maybe, which might help.
Think so, potentially.
All right, are we finishing comedy?
Yes.
Might as well.
All right, for ensemble, for a comedy series, we have The Great, Hacks, Kaminsky Method, Only Murders in the Building, and Ted Lasso. I could picture pretty much any of these.
Same.
But like we were saying, do we just stick with the Ted Lasso thing? Honestly, it's The Great that's jumping out at me as the random choice.
Okay.
But I feel like I just want to stick to the Ted Lasso thing because that's much safer and much easier. So I'm gonna do that.
Ashley.
I'm going to copy the Emmys and say Hacks.
Yep. Before we go into chat real quick, Martin Short is great in the Merlin from 1998 with Sam Neill. Thoughts on Pure Luck with Martin Short and Danny Glover?
Oh my God, I haven't seen that. It's been so long since I've seen that. I rented it as a VHS at Blockbuster.
Dear God.
That's how long it's been.
Jeez.
There you go. Okay, that's probably why I'm remembering it, Brian. Remember for the Globes a couple years back, AJ marked Douglas to win, but changed it during the podcast.
That was bullshit.
Hell.
That was absolute. Yeah.
So, we're going to talk about a lot where AJ has been Mr. Play It Safe. And he's probably going to he may have some things coming up that may not necessarily play it safe, but I feel like he's going to be pretty across the board. Ashley could go either way. I seem to be the one on the panel that 9 times out of 10 goes with the really oddball choice and loses the point. If I'm not going to go with something in another category, why not go for it later on where it can support everybody instead of just one? So that's what ensemble's for. And Hacks makes sense. AJ brings up The Great. It makes sense. The love for Ted Lasso is undeniable. and Kaminsky Method getting, if I'm correct, with Michael Douglas winning, we've already given an award to that. But you know what I didn't give an award to? The Martins. And this is a way to get them both a win. So I'm going only Murders in the Building.
A lot of people did think that Selena Gomez was hard done by for not making it in for her performance in it, in the actress, because of course they don't do supporting.
Heck yeah. We've known for
Yeah,
long.
she would definitely be leading unless they were thinking. Well, you can't even say she'd be supporting because of ensemble because the Martins are leading. So I don't. I guess we'll never know. So, well, I guess the Globes would have answered that question, but I've already forgotten the Globes like everybody else because they don't matter. So,
Let's get this television out of the way. We've got 3 categories to go. Let's go drama.
the damn race we're always looking at, is it going to be Succession or is it going to be Squid Game that they love?
Yep.
Well, I was looking this over earlier and I made my decision. And yeah, I am going something going 3 for 3.
Okay.
Once again playing it safe. I guess the way you could look at it is the more likely one might be the actor and actress are for the same show, and then ensemble's a different show. Could happen.
I did with mine.
But yeah. So and my whole thing about they won't go supporting, when the whole show's like an ensemble where everybody could be equally leading just as they could equally supporting, it does not apply here.
Fair.
So for actress in a drama series, we have Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show, John Leon for Squid Game, Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale, Sarah Snook for Succession, and Reese Witherspoon for The Morning Show. Well, Aniston was our winner for the first season of The Morning Show. Interesting that Witherspoon's finally like getting attention here, since I think we didn't see her entirely for the first season of it. Squid Game's always a possibility. I guess Elizabeth Moss is a possibility. I narrowed it down to Sarah Snook. I think it's going to be a Succession kind of night.
Okay. Ashley.
Because I think it's a popularity contest, I think it's going to go to Jennifer Aniston. I don't think it should win, but it's the actors voting for actors, and I just feel slash fear that it's just, we vote for who we like.
I'm going to concur with AJ and go with Sarah Snook here.
Speaking of Succession.
Good Lord.
For actor in a drama series, we have Brian Cox for Succession, Billy Crudup for The Morning Show, Kieran Culkin for Succession, Lee Jong-jae for Squid Game, and Jeremy Strong for Succession. Every time Succession has come up this season, I say the same thing. I don't know how much I would have thought about it before this, but we had that thing that was going down earlier this year, or last year, or whenever the hell it was, where seemingly out of the blue, some publication wrote an article about Jeremy Strong and was like, I think like criticizing his method acting or something. And a lot of actors came out of the woodwork and had his back.
Yep.
And said that he's like essentially a consummate professional, and it's all that he's doing everything he can to give the best performance he can give. And I didn't realize that he had that much backing in the industry, so it would not surprise me at all if this is Jeremy Strong, especially after that whole thing. So that's who I'm going with, even though it could easily be Brian Cox or the dude from Squid Game, who I forgot because I have not watched Squid Game yet, and I minimized the screen. Lee Jong-jae from Squid Game. Yes.
Ashley.
Ooh. I think I'm. Hang on, I need to have a quick look and see who's won this before. I think that's been Brian Cox both times before if Succession has one?
I remember going for Brian Cox many times, so I would
This
see.
is
I don't
true.
remember. I don't remember Brian Cox ever winning because I feel like if Brian Cox gave a speech, we'd remember it.
He hasn't won.
Oh, Succession's never been nominated.
Yeah, I think he won the Globe once.
Yeah. I'll go with Strong, but you know, admittedly at first I thought it was Culkin and Strong because I thought Cox had won before, but now that I know that that's for another category, I don't know whether Cox will be popular as a veteran because arguably one of the things that he does at the very end of season 3, which was signposted all the way back in like the very first episode of season 1 to some extent. Could that scene could be enough, but then Strong also does a lot of good scenes, and I don't think this is Squid Games, but watch them probably win it. But yeah, I'll go with Strong as well.
Yeah. Short answer, I'm going to go with Jeremy Strong. Long answer, I want to go with Brian Cox here, but something's telling me not to. I don't know what it is, something's telling me not to. Billy Crudup, I had an idea to go with that, but we'll get there. Yeah, it makes sense. Let's see. Brian says, forgot to mention about Homecoming. It was great to listen to Blitzkrieg Bob, but nothing beats its appearance in Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, one of my absolute favorite songs that I still go back to every once in a while is in Homecoming, and that's Space Age Love Song. I absolutely love that song. I will be thankfully seeing them in concert in a couple months, actually, which I'm excited for. Because the last time they did Iran and everybody marked out, and I wanted to hear Space Age Love Song, and I'm like, no, that's not the Flock of Seagull song I want to hear. So I only could go to one show. So hopefully, there's a guarantee I'll be able to hear Space Age Love Song theatrically take a shot during the actual concert. Hi, Cassie. Josie says, speaking of Succession, thoughts on Igby Goes Down?
I love it. It's so unexpectedly twisted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you think by the opening scene, you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? But I mean, when it gets dark the whole time.
I remember you'll find this funny. I remember like stalking that at Hollywood all the time. It seems like everybody was renting Igby Goes Down, and I always was putting it back on the shelf.
And incredible ensemble, by the way. Amazing cast.
Brian says, did not know this until now, but today was the final episode of Arthur. I know it was going to, but I thought it was going to be later. Yeah, I'll have a special kinship with Arthur, 100%. And yeah, there's a show I watched for a while. Sad to see it go. It's done so many great things in PBS television. Josie said, fun trivia. Okay. Hey, I remember that website. Jeremy Strong's birthday is on Christmas, and his wife is a Danish psychiatrist. Billy Crudup's been in a relationship with Naomi Watts since 2017. Good for her after Liev Schreiber.
I don't know that I knew that.
Interesting. Didn't know it either.
I know that he I think he was the one that was with Mary Louise Parker, and he left her high and dry at the worst time or something.
Sounds right. And on that note, we move into our final television category of, is this the final of the season?
Yes.
Thank God.
Since we did Critics' Choice ridiculously early.
Yeah.
Which
Like
one did
spherical.
you say? Which one did you say, Owen? Sorry. You went with Culkin, or
No, I went with Strong.
okay, strong sweep. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, are we ready for a drama series?
Yes. Take it home.
The Handmaid's Tale, The Morning Show, Squid Game, Succession, or Yellowstone? I mean, it could be a random one.
Yellowstone.
I mean, I'm looking at the cast here. That's a pretty good cast it's got here.
I can't say that Yellowstone is anything that's random because it's Taylor Sheridan. And I like that man's work too much.
Yeah. And it's Zombie Sailor's best friend, Kevin Costner. But the thing at the end of the day, my question is this. If it was going to do anything else, why wasn't it nominated for anything else?
Because Succession exists.
So
Succession's taking up all the goddamn slots. That's why.
It's ridiculous.
In all honesty, I think it's the ensemble deal. There's nobody that stands out solely. It's way Taylor Sheridan's stuff works. A lot of people are important, including Carl Chandler. That is a joke to anybody that did watch. What was it called?
Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah.
I never watched it, but I heard about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
only the best TV series do bait and switches on certain key things, like people that are in it.
So, obviously, yet again, but thankfully for the last time this season, is it Succession or is it Squid Game? Is what I'm thinking. And yeah, I could easily see it being actor and actress goes to Succession, so Squid Game gets ensemble, but I'm just gonna go Succession across the board.
Okay, Ashley.
I think this is television's Parasite, and the actors might acknowledge Squid Game.
Wow, all of us are. So one of us is going to get a point because none of us are picking the same thing.
Or we're all getting none.
Hi, Yellowstone. Zombie Sailor's best friend, Kevin Costner. I'm going with the morning show here.
Interesting.
Yep.
I mean, I got that clue when we brought up Billy Crudup, but I didn't really register that you were going to actually do that.
I mean, I'm going to do something wild just a little bit, so it's fine. Claire Danes was in Igby Goes Down, yes. My brother has met Liev Schreiber a couple times at NYU Langone Hospital. Interesting, Jersey.
I always thought he'd be a little intimidating. I don't know what makes me think that, but it's...
He's not Michael Shannon. Yellowstone had one of the highest ratings for a cable network show premiere in recent years. I put away Yellowstone DVDs at the library a lot. Well, that makes sense. I get that vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go into movies.
All right. Once again, whatever this means, for stunt ensemble for movies, we have Black Widow, Dune, The Matrix Resurrections, No Time to Die, and Shang-Chi. I could probably picture any of these except The Matrix.
Yeah.
And I was leaning, and I can't really explain this. I'm just gonna go with what my gut instinct was because that's how this category works. My gut instinct right away when I looked at this list was No Time to Die.
Dang it.
Was your thunder stolen again?
Yeah, of course it was.
Well, we're about to find out if we're going 3 for 3 on it.
Ashley, pick stunt ensemble.
I don't think he can hear you yet. There we go.
Yeah. So what did AJ say for stunts?
No Time to Die.
Good. Yeah, I have to go with No Time
Ashley,
to Die as
what do
well.
Yeah.
All those stunt drivers doing that crazy stuff with the Land Rovers over the hills and far away.
Yeah, for some reason, with all like the hand-to-hand stuff and all that other stuff, that was the chase scene was the first scene I thought of.
Brian brought up a point. I don't know if we're going into it. I think we are because it's a category that we're begrudgingly going through. One more TV show, one more category left for television. That's the spirits.
Oh, fuck that.
Well,
Fuck the
sort
spirits
of,
and having a
sort
TV
of,
category. What the?
sort of. A lot of the stuff that's in the spirits are not really showing up in the other ones. Then again, you see, you this is I got a technicality here and annoy AJ. White Lotus is in here for Murray Bartlett. So, do you want to slightly change your mind? I'm not saying definitively change your mind, but just like give it a little bit of love. Not a like I
Yeah, I
love
get
it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, fine, fine, whatever.
Dang it.
And then Squid Game wins, and then we're like, God damn it.
Yeah, AJ just alluded to it. He stole my thunder. Ashley rolled with it as well. The first thing that popped into my mind when I saw this category is No Time to Die.
Well, because it's like how much of Dune and Matrix's stunts were CGI, and especially with all the craziness of the Black Widow CGI. Shang-Chi, it's hard to tell. No Time to Die, I don't think it was. A lot of the, I still am trying to work out whether it was Daniel Craig that nearly got hit by a Land Rover, or whether we just superimposed his face on because we got good technology. Even though the stunt still happened, it wasn't a CGI Land Rover that went past his face.
Okay, the spirits, while very well intentioned, and I admittedly like some of the stuff they nominate are basically participation awards.
Yeah, participation awards, but sometimes this should be the whole thing award, like Willem Dafoe or Sandler.
Oh,
Sometimes it's like good. I'm glad they got this moment.
the wrestler.
That your Molly Shannon one was really nice.
Yeah, totally. All right. Next.
Supporting actress. What's really interesting about this is we were talking about the possibility, because sometimes SAG has a tendency, it's rare, but they've shown that they are willing to go for people that aren't nominated at the Oscars.
Right.
I find it very interesting that in both supporting categories here, each only 2 people are at the Oscars.
Yep.
With co-star Smith McPhee and supporting actress having DeBose and Dunst. So that's interesting. that ups the chances of a non-Oscar nominee. Maybe they'll go for. Since I'm playing it safe tonight, I'm not doing that. But maybe, but maybe one of you will. So, like, to be totally honest with you, I could kind of see them going for Blanchett, like for real.
Yeah.
But our nominees are Katrina Balfe for Belfast, Kate Blanchett for Nightmare Alley, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, and Ruth Negga for Passing. I'm going to be totally honest, I cannot believe we are currently talking about the fact that Katrina Balfe and Ruth Negga are not at the Oscars. It's wild. It's insane. It's crazy. It's... I mean, immediately you just want to say it's Ariana DeBose. The end. But I wish there was more discussion. And it could be. Once again, we were saying, if anybody's going to get dethroned and this race is going to take a curve, this is where it starts. It happens. And like I said, Ariana DeBose's performance, we've already seen. No, I don't mean we've seen Anita perform before. No, we've seen Anita performed exactly like this. Beat for beat, pretty much. That may not bother a lot of voters. Apparently it hasn't so far. Once again, I said, it's not, I don't want to take away from the performance because that's still an achievement. to do a performance that good, but it's not different from Moreno's. It really isn't. All the high highs, like the highest heights of DeBose's performance, are done exactly the way Moreno did them. But that doesn't seem to be bothering people, and she'd be an easy winner, so I'm gonna stick with the DeBose thing. But I would love to see a curveball, and like I said, I could honestly see it being Blanchett, just randomly.
Ashley.
Just looking whether I need to. I'll go with DeBose. Part of me wants to do the left field and go with Balf and prove that the Academy got it wrong with Dench.
That'd be a really good boost for Belfast in general. It'd show love for
Yeah.
it.
But how Dunst is not in this more is boggling to me.
Yeah, maybe it's just not yet.
Possible.
It is.
I'm trying
It
to work
is.
out though if this is a guild though, whether they do actually think it's her time. I don't know.
I mean, I'm a tad bit biased towards a me that existed many, many moons ago. That's no longer anything close to what I am now in more ways than one. But Balf comes out to mind as well. I mean, a shock win for Ruth Nega would be nice. I've never seen passing, but again, let's shake this race up a little bit. I'd like that. Getting a rewatch of West Side Story makes me realize I like the movie. I understand why it's here. I said I'm not a fan of this like win everything mentality. I don't want DeBose to win this at all. She's going to, but I don't want her to win. I really don't want Cate Blanchett to win. But you can't go against science at this point. And it seems like AJ said, at the end of the day, they don't care if this performance has already been nominated. They don't care if this performance has already had the accolades. They just want to give it more. Even though it's not the same person, even though it might as well be just channeling that same person. Yeah, I suppose.
Oh. Dunst has a SAG.
Melancholia?
Hidden Figures?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I didn't like that movie, so that's probably why I forgot about it. Did I take a shot? Josie says, totally agree. 2019-2020 was probably my favorite spirits for Sandler and Defoe alone. Perhaps as wishful thinking, I can see them awarding Dunst because she's been acting for over 20 years.
Not to mention she's in the movie that's apparently God's gift to movies this year, according to the other voters.
It is the Slumdog Millionaire of 2022.
Dog, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Wolf. Hello, Channing Tatum.
Oh dear God. Magic Mike, Kevin Nash. Anyway, so here's the thing. Like, Josie, you're giving me that vibe that, like, it makes me, like, want to change my thought process here and go Dunst because I want to. But I'm going to make a much wilder accusation in a bit, so I don't know necessarily I can really throw that gun in the holster quite yet. DeBose will win. I'd rather see someone else. It's just as long as it's not Cate Blanchett.
All right. Supporting actor.
Oh, God.
This could be really boring or it could be really, really fun.
There's not lying. I'm thinking about it.
All right. Our very interesting set of nominees are Ben Affleck for The Tender Bar, Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jared Leto for House of Gucci, and Cousin McPhee for Power of the Dog. I would honestly give time off of my life to see Cooper win this.
Yes.
If Leto wins, I will laugh so hard I will have to be taken away in an ambulance.
Yeah.
Affleck is here for some reason. It should probably be for the last duel because fuck the Razzies. And then we have our 2 Oscar nominees.
Yeah.
As much as I really would love to see Cooper happen, as much as I would die of laughter from Leto, personally, I'm looking at the Oscar nominees, and I've been saying this whole thing about how I'm not sure about Cody Smith McPhee doing this whole thing. Like, I feel like somebody's going to dethrone him. It almost feels like he's because they don't usually appreciate actors this young. Usually, there's some sort of thing, and I've been saying if Kieran Hines can take BAFTA, I feel like he would be the threat.
Yeah.
And we've been talking before about how Kozer doesn't feel impossible.
Nope. Not at all.
He's got a great narrative, and he's got the performance to back him up, and the love for the movie.
I'll know soon enough.
That said, I'm getting boring vibes from this year. So here, I might stick with Cody Smith McPhee, and if he's going to be dethroned, I think it will be because Kieran Hines gets BAFTA.
Okay. Ashley.
Streisand. Bearing in mind that the only SAG that Cooper won was for American Hustle, for ensemble.
You had to keep throwing that in my face.
I was just looking at it. I thought he might have been I think Star is Born was also nominated for cast but lost out.
The movie I got screwed on.
Yeah. While we're on Cooper, I can't remember if we had this discussion or not. We might have in the post-nomination show, but it still just blows my mind. Since he's a producer on Nightmare Alley, have we discussed how many fucking Oscar nominations he has? It's a lot, man. Is it, what, 9? It's 8 or 9. I think it's 9.
Let's have a look.
100%.
Playbook,
Because it would be, it's acting.
2 for Sniper.
Yeah.
3 for A Star Is Born. 1 for Joker, and 1 for Nightmare Alley. So, yeah.
Jesus. That is a man of power in this industry.
He's come a long way since that god-awful piece of garbage, The Hangover.
If you don't want to bring up The Hangover, bring up Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
Bring up The Rocker, where his name was trash.
This is where I hope that Licorice Pizza wins the Oscar, and then he's like, I produced the wrong one. Damn it. Streisand.
After you're going with Bradley Cooper?
Of course. I think if it's a popularity contest rather than acknowledging the best performance. I mean, if we're going on that logic, Jared Leto's winning and I'm down in hot dog juice. God damn it. If that happens, I'm going to live bloody record it on stream. Maybe even if we don't live stream it, if AJ and Owen are actually on the call with me as I down this shit when Jared Leto wins, and you'll also probably see my reaction, like go, like full on. That might have to be a separate video if that happens. I don't want it to happen. Please don't let it happen. For the love of God, Zach. Stop drinking.
I can't wait.
Stop drinking.
I can't wait to see what his clip is. What do you think his clip is gonna be?
Champagne.
I would say probably one of the scenes with Pacino.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or the scene where Jeremy Irons tells him to fuck off.
Or maybe.
Or was that Pacino too? I can't remember.
There's a scene with him and Gaga though that was used quite a bit. I saw in the early stuff.
Yeah. Who was it? Was it the iron? Was it a scene with irons where he pisses on the floor?
I don't.
Oh my
That's
god.
the scene in Parasite that should have been in there. The guy just pissing in the street.
So here's where we get to the fun part of the night, where I decide I want to start taking some wild swings.
Uh-oh.
Got me a nice barbed wire bat, hand it ready to swing. Affleck's out of this, as much as I hate to say it. Ashley, I fear for your health and want Leto to be out of this just because.
I don't. I mean, I do,
You
but
know,
I also don't.
or say it again, and you have to take it out of context in order to understand what I mean. Dude, I'm not feeling Paranorman here. I'm just not. God, I want to go with Cooper so bad here, but Ashley totally stole my heat. Kozer comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Could win SAG, and he could really well,
No,
BAFTA. Then it's an actual race, and then McPhee wins the Oscar.
well, you know something. When I was talking about Coates having a narrative, one of the things he's talked about is the struggle of being an actor and how it's taken him this long to get a role like this at his age. That's a long time being a struggling actor. And Cody Smith McPhee was in this business as a child.
Yep.
If you want to talk about somebody actors will be able to relate to more,
Kozer.
depending who we're talking about. There's a lot of people here that were kind of, oh, here's the business for you, and here's a little bow to put on it too. But there's a lot of coachers out there, and a lot of coachers are voters also.
I know. That's what's jumping out at me. And although my heart says Bradley Cooper, and I want to go with it so bad, naturally, I'm very happy if you get this point. I'm going with Troy Kotsur.
Nice.
Because I want to make some wild allegations the rest of this run, so we'll see what we get.
Interesting phrase.
Let's see what Chatsky say here. Oh my dad, there's a lot of things. Take a shot. Brian says Dunst was in Small Soldiers. Yes,
of course. When she goes off on those Sarah Michelle Gellar dolls, it's amazing.
Never forget that. I'm trying to work out what the fuck it was called.
That was Phil's last movie.
Over here, it was called Mission Without Permission. I think for you guys, it was called Catch That Kid.
Oh yeah,
the Kristen Stewart movie.
Yeah,
yeah. Remember that?
Over here, it was called Mission Without Permission. Even though if you look at the back of the case, it says Catch That Kid. So why is there a different title on the spine and the front then?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to Catch That Kid's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Now that she's a nominee, I need to revisit it.
Josie says, I love Small Soldiers. Yeah, I alluded to this earlier. AJ agreed with me on this, and it's true. It was Phil Hartman's last movie.
Yeah, it came out posthumously, didn't it?
Yeah, it was Almost Heroes, and it was Small Soldiers.
I mean, for Farley and then him.
Yeah, because I remember that because this was something that happened a long time ago. AJ, I'm sure you don't remember the Studio Boss game they used to have on the E website. It was like a fantasy movie game, and you got to pick like your actors and actresses, and then you got to pick like your fantasy team of movies. And I remember like selecting Phil Hartman, and because I wanted him in my list, it was something that was really cool. It was like a fantasy like movie game. It was called Studio Boss. I remember that back in that was when Small Soldiers came out. So yeah, that was the last season.
Like 2K22's draft mode.
Something like that, yeah.
Insert topical. It's absolutely lame joke here.
I've got a question for you, and I want to see if you know this.
Probably not.
Because it's honestly something I tend to forget sometimes. You mentioned Almost Heroes and it being Farley's last movie.
Yes.
Do you remember who directed Almost Heroes?
I not off the top of my head. It's not Peter Berg. I don't know. For some reason, Peter Berg jumped to mind. I don't know why.
No, it was not Peter Berg.
Chris Columbus?
Oh, the first name's right.
Chris Guest?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. It's the one movie I would ever remember he did.
Yeah, that's why Eugene Levy's in it. That's the only one you can tell.
I was gonna say Steven Spielberg because he did the first episode of Columbo. You know, he could do anything.
Oh my God, we have so many great things to talk about in a second. Josie, you just opened a whole new can of worms in a minute. Good thing. That's why the show goes forever. Josie says, pull an Emily Blunt. Talk about Bradley Cooper. Brian says Aloha. Hey, I like that movie, and I take heat for it to this day.
Yeah, fuck Aloha, that piece of shit.
Josie says Brad produced many movies too.
What was that again?
Brad Pitt.
Oh, as a producer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Plan B's been around forever.
It has. Speaking of something that I really wanted this mentioned, Bradley Cooper was in a Stella short. That's right. I'm a big mark for the state, Josie. You may not know that because I don't talk about it fairly often, but yeah, Black Show and Wayne, 100%. Love me some state, my friend. I still quote that stuff to this day. AJ knows. We talk about Barry and Levon and the $240 worth of pudding all the time. I had a conversation with a guest at work the other day about the show, about the state, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy! I didn't know many people realized what this was." McDormand did for Nomadland and even for Macbeth. Josie says, "Love for Cumberbatch's Oscar clip to be because she was drunk, she was pie-eyed, she was smashed. That scene alone is evidence why he should win Best Actor for me, anyway."
Yeah, that's the first scene I think of.
I like Power of the Dog. Like I said it before. I just don't like Campion winning all the time, but I really enjoyed the movie a lot, and it definitely got better the second time I watched it too. Josie says Coates has a legitimate shot at SAG. I think he has such a lovable presence that actors probably love. Yeah, that's usually a good thing. Oh man, so many great things. Josie says, remember Storton Zathora? Yeah.
Yeah, she's a block of ice for most of the movie.
I like Kristen Stewart in Adventureland. I love that movie. I very much identify with it as a
actually, Zathura is actually when I started crushing on her. Weirdly enough.
That's correct. And
pre-ice.
And Adventureland is what I did for obvious reasons that are not going to be obvious to everybody on here, and that's good with me. Frank Langella as the voice of Archer in Small Soldiers is just golden. Yes.
Yeah. That was my introduction to Frank Langella.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, mine was Brain Scan.
Yeah.
Love Brain Scan. Not enough people know that movie's existence. Josie says, rest in peace, Phil Hartman. He was hilarious. And in giant letters, Christopher Guest. Yes. 100%.
I was just reminiscing about Phil Hartman's. I mean, of all the things he did in his career and all the legendary characters he played on like SNL and stuff like that, the first thing that comes to mind with Phil Hartman is the immortal line in Jingle All the Way, when he looks at Schwarzenegger with just absolute disdain and says, "You can't bench press your way out of this one."
You can't bench press your way out of this one, tough guy. Put that cookie down!
No!
I love Jingle All the Way so much.
And we're not even mentioning the best performance in that movie by far is Sinbad.
God. It's crazy how Turbo Man is actually like that figure showed up in places lately, and it's insane how like Turbo Man figures are still available to this day. You can get them at Walmart right now. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm a huge Phil Hartman mark. I always was. There's a lot of great stuff that Hartman's done. Like, I love SNL. I like old school SNL. Like, it ties into that as well. And I'm a big Chris Guest mark. Brian says the air conditioner and the brave little toaster.
Yeah, he's also the Hanging Lamp
Yep.
because the Hanging Lamp is his Peter Lorre impression, and the air conditioner is his Jack impression.
Now, the great thing that is the Brave Little Toaster has the correlation of being one of the most surprising number of views we've had on any versus we've ever done on this network when it faced off against something that ties into what AJ's currently wearing right now.
This is actually a shirt for 4.
Oh, I know, but ties into the property of Toy Story. It was the Toy Story 3 versus.
I'm just glad there's love for the Brave Little Toaster. I love that. I'm so
Yeah.
happy it's like been growing over time and being appreciated more. That's because it deserves that.
Josie says, "Love Jingle All the Way." I think everybody does. Paul White's like, "I'm going to deck your halls, bub," and he just pulls back.
That Jingle All the Way is a guilty pleasure for me. The Jim Belushi scene in the factory and stuff with Danny Woodburn and Paul White and stuff like that is
Yes.
one of the worst scenes in movie history. But I still kind of love the movie anyway.
He's always going to be Mickey to me. Anyway.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Here comes the fun time. We're almost there. We started the show at 6
This
o'clock.
is I'm in the mindset of this because right now I'm really obsessed with the Always Sunny podcast.
Okay.
You know, the idea is they're going episode by episode, but they talk about the episode like for 2 minutes per episode. And it's mostly this. And it's like it's the Always Sunny podcast is what's keeping me alive right now.
Obviously, mine is the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. I'm currently wearing from head to toe right now, actually. I'm wearing like the Shockline shorts.
Was it Lorraine that said, I don't even want to talk about actress?
Yes.
You remember when we started and I said I had all these predetermined except for one?
This is the one. I don't know.
All right. All right. We have my personal favorite, Chastain for The Other Tammy Faye, and then we also have Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Lady Gaga for House of Gucci, Jennifer Hudson for Respect for some reason, and Kidman. I was saying this whole thing about how I didn't get why people were calling Kidman the front runner for a while there.
Right.
If they were basing it on Globe, they're idiots. I'm sorry.
Especially this year, all year.
It's just one of those. I don't try to be hateful. I'm just in one of those moods. But you're a fucking idiot if you're relying on Globe.
You think? You've been in this mood all night, man.
But yeah, I have it down to Kidman and Coleman.
Same.
I would love so much if Chastain were in this more, but I feel like the movie itself is what's doing her in.
Probably.
If the movie had been more successful and more well liked, she might be in this more.
Right.
So that's unfortunate. And I wouldn't have been so much on Kidman for the fact that Being the Ricardos did better overall than we thought it was going to. Than I thought it was going to. I know not all of us. Better than I thought it was going to, for sure. Yes, so Kidman's in this, unfortunately, but like I said, Kidman's my second favorite actress. It feels weird to me to say, "Oh, her." I don't want her to win, but that's what happens sometimes.
You're against Kidman and Stewart this year.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. So I was leaning towards Coleman's the one that's been sticking out to me since the beginning. Once Stewart started getting knocked out.
Right.
And they clearly love her, and everybody loves her. Like, based on her personality alone, you'd give her all the wins, let alone the fact that she's one of the best actresses working right now. But because the Ricardos is showing all season's been so weird and so back and forth, where it's like they kind of love it, but they don't seem to love it enough, but they do seem to really love it. I can't tell.
It is the legitimate, real number 10 in Best Picture. It makes more sense for 3 top-of-the-line acting nominations over a bunch of texts that don't matter.
Well, stick that up your ass. Because obviously Macbeth is the thing that's missing here.
I'm talking about based on visibility with the other categories. It makes more sense than Nightmare Alley does, clearly.
How funny that I just told you to shove that up your ass when we had the conversation previously where Brian was asking us what was number 10 in 2012, and I was like, well, The Master had 3 acting nominations.
Very true.
So that was my love for Macbeth that was coming after you there.
That's fine. My movie underperformed, so I feel your pain, believe me.
I don't know what to fucking do an actress, man. I want.
We've gone 3 hours and we barely talked about anything. I have to work out.
I want to hand the award to Chastain and call it a day. Okay. Like, not my prediction. I want to give her the award and call it a day.
You personally want to go there and give her the award and call it a day.
Tammy Faye is such a forgettable movie overall, but I think about that last scene all the time. I don't, but yeah, it's realistically it's Coleman and Kidman,
right?
And every time I lean towards Coleman, I start to get like doubts.
No,
it's Streep at the end of doubt.
Amy Adams.
Yeah, that's it. And then the first Noel plays and the credits roll. That's where I'm at right now.
And the Hoffman, and that 5-minute scene from Viola Davis.
Oh God, I'm really feeling Coleman, man. But that's the thing is like if Coleman's gonna make a dent in this is her only chance because BAFTA's weird.
Yep.
But Kidman's not at BAFTA either, is she? So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
BAFTA's the who's line and make the points are made up and they don't matter.
For a while now, they do love Kidman. I always come back to that Paperboy nomination.
Yeah, that's a weird one to this day.
I mean, they like her.
Coleman's
they like her, but Kidman's only won SAG for Big Little Lies as ensemble. She hasn't won any of the others.
Yeah, because I think Zellweger beat her for the year she won, didn't she? I think.
Let's have a quick check. Yeah, for the hours.
For Chicago.
For the hours, SAG went for Zellweger. And then 2010 was Rabbit Hole. 2012 was Paperboy. Grace of Monaco is considered a miniseries or TV movie, even though over here it was released as a cinema thing. Also supporting actress for Lion and supporting actress for Bombshell. That's just in film stuff. That isn't including what the hell is Hemingway and Gellhorn.
That's the one with Clive Owen.
Again, I still don't know. That never got out over here, which is interesting.
Well, here's the thing.
That's the film that's the film from the same time of year in the end of May. The what Memorial? No, is it Memorial Weekend? That one. Either way, it's the same weekend that Behind the Candelabra came out. It's the usual end of May. I think that was the same time that Bad Education came out last year. From what I remember. Anyway. So what are you going for?
Well, here's the thing is Coleman, what's great about Coleman being all the rage right now is I love the fact that in her Oscar speech she says, I'm never doing this again. This is never going to happen again. And she has been riding this wave. She has not taken for granted this wave post The Favorite. She has been on fire whether it be movies or Fleabag or whatever comes along. Um, so the question is, are they maybe done with Coleman, even though Coleman doesn't have one of these yet, as far as I recall?
Again, the only one she has is an ensemble for The Crown. She doesn't have one for film.
But they might be aching to give Kidman one, even though Big Little Lies just happened. But God damn it, man! Because they went for Bardem, also, I think I'll go Kidman.
Okay. Ashley.
Just because of the fact that she hasn't won one outright herself, I think they're going to go with Kidman as well. However, there's a nagging thing that's going to make me think that Gaga somehow wins this.
That'd be fucked up.
Because it's a popularity contest. It not necessarily
And
is.
I mean, it actually wouldn't feel that random because SAG really went for House of Gucci in a big way.
Mainly because they were the first one to sort of put their hand out on the table, because everybody else had the time to sort of go, hold on a minute. So
All right, chat time, then we'll go into it. If anyone were to reboot The Brave Little Toaster in modern context, the best person would be Sam Esmail. Charlie and the waitress married in real life is one of the facts that keeps me happily alive. The waitress in Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, she's his mom, I believe.
Oh. Trent says, Jessica, come on, she did everything. Trent's on your side, AJ.
Yes.
Josie says, fun trivia, Chastain's husband is an Italian count, in all caps, has the most Italian name ever, Gianluca Pace de Presposulo.
see.
That's the thing. Brian says, for 2011, the 10th spot would be Bridesmaids or Tinker Tailor. Those are terrible choices, Brian.
Tinker Tailor did get in the screenplay, didn't he?
I beg your pardon. Who's saying that Tinker Tailor is terrible? God damn it.
I didn't like it. Sorry, it's boring.
That's the idea.
I don't care.
It's a 70s spy thing. It's supposed to be boring. That's why people hate Captain America the Winter Soldier. They're wrong.
Brian says 2013 is Blue Jasmine. Acting, screenplay, that's possible.
Yeah, the Sally Hawkins nomination might have pushed it there.
You're welcome. 2014 was Foxcatcher, but the 10th spot would be Interstellar because of the text.
Sure.
Carol for 2015 for the 9th, and Star Wars Force Awakens for the 10th for editing.
These conversations are a lot easier to have when you're actually in the year.
I'll just run them down real quick. 2016 would be Silence. That really blew up in AJ's face. So it would only be getting one nomination in picture. 2017 would have been Mudbound. 2018 is Beale Street and Can You Ever Forgive? And Brian says 2019 would have been The Two Popes. We'll never know. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, we're over 3 hours now. We need to take it home. That's a shoot because I have to work out and it's gonna take an hour and I have to go to bed soon. Here's the thing. I have been championing the same movie all season long, back in August before we ever saw the movie, or anybody did. And I feel it's going to happen. Globes made the front runner status something that people thought, but they were wrong. When she wins SAG, it's a shoot. Nicole Kidman. Best actor.
This will be very interesting because
Oh,
I think this race is going to be really, really close.
I do too.
We have everybody in for beating the Ricardos for some reason. Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Garfield for Tick Tick Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and the rightful winner, Denzel. Um, I feel like it's very, very clear we're looking at Will Smith or Cumberbatch.
Yep.
It's very believable Will Smith can have this, Cumberbatch can have BAFTA, and we don't know what the fuck's going to happen on Oscar night. Because both movies are very, very strong individually.
Yep.
Power of the Dog's obviously at the top as far as literally having the power. But like we've been saying, King Richard has been strong and consistently strong all season. If anything, it consistently overperforms with every new set of nominations.
Uh-huh.
King Richard is in a very good place. So we've been saying for a while now, even when Cumberbatch was taking all the critics awards, which is what we usually see, is somebody will sweep at least one of the categories, somebody will sweep critics awards, and then when we get to these big ones, they start getting taken away. Like the go-to example of that for me is when Chiwetel switched to McConaughey in 2013. And we've been saying since the beginning, some of us have been saying since the beginning, that we thought this was eventually going to go in Will Smith's direction.
Right.
And and once again, we're not even. I know he won Globe, and I could use that, but I'm not going to. It is the strength of King Richard and the continuing strength of King Richard and Will Smith's power. And once again, believe it or not, some people don't believe this, but yeah, sometimes, not always, but sometimes the performance itself can get you there.
Absolutely.
And I think that can happen. So I'm gonna say Will Smith here, but that's not to say I won't say Cumberbatch for BAFTA, and that's to not necessarily say that Will Smith has this in the bag for the rest of the season, because Cumberbatch is here, and Will Smith should be afraid of him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, that's where I am with actor.
Ashley, what do you got?
Because I think it's the popularity contest thing again. Will Smith.
Let's see. Josie said if there were 10 nods in the 70s, being there would be a great inclusion. Watch Bowling Point the other night. Very intense, quite fascinating. Graham and Robinson give excellent performances.
Yes. It's also especially appropriate if you've been binging Hell's Kitchen for a couple of months.
Nice.
Which I may or may not have been doing.
Okay. Theoretically speaking, everyone has a chance to win this except for Bardem.
Thank Christ.
Honestly. I want Andrew Garfield to win this.
Yes.
Garfield deserves to win this.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he deserves to win this. I feel like he's... Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll throw my bias. I don't care at this point. He has the best performance in this lineup, for me personally. AJ, of course, loves Denzel. I totally understand.
Well, that's what we were saying. Is this lineup is so good in general, and to the point that when we did our personal lineups, where if we chose the nominees ourselves, I said 4 of these 5.
Same.
This is the lineup. That 5th spot's a whole bunch of bullshit, but
I'm okay because I called it, but that's beside the point. Will Smith. I don't need to elaborate at all.
I do want to put a little disclaimer in here and say I fucking love Javier Bardem. I love him. He's the man. Just not here. That's all I'm saying. Just not here.
Brian watched Hell's Kitchen a lot on YouTube last year, and Josie says cookbooks are super popular at the library I work at. They're so hard to put away. They're so damn heavy. Josie, fun fact, there's this little, like, paper thin like Coca-Cola cookbook from the 90s that my mom used to have all the time. I think AJ may have seen it in my kitchen in a time or two. It have like recipes from various Coke products and everything like that. It told me how to make actual Coke and everything. So I reminds me, and the Brady Bunch cookbook I had back in the day too. Random tangent before we go into cast SAG ensemble.
All right, another tough one.
Here we go.
We got Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, House of Gucci, and King Richard. So, like I was saying before, when you look at Spotlight or when you look at Parasite, and just in general, any chaotic year, SAG can end a race just as easily as PGA can.
Yep.
So, I was saying what I was saying about Belfast, where when I did a narrowing down thing, if they decide to go anti-streaming and want to pick a strictly theatrical movie, and I said that I had narrowed that down to Licorice Pizza only got 3 nominations and underperformed weirdly and unexpectedly. West Side Story could always have people against it for being a movie that already exists, which leaves Belfast, and
Yep.
Belfast is here, which means it very well could be Belfast easily. But for some reason, my brain narrowed it down to King Richard and Coda. Because I could easily see Coda being just kind of an overall inspirational thing.
Yeah.
Because Coates Matlin and the brother in the movie are all actually deaf. And this is a triumphant thing as far as celebrating that. But like I was saying, King Richard has been having a fucking good season. King Richard's been having such a good season. When we started this video over 3 hours ago, my choice was Coda. As we've been talking more and more and more about King Richard, I've been leaning and leaning and leaning. We'll bring Pauly Shore in here. I've been leaning like the Leaning Tower of Cheesa. So I'm really feeling the Coda thing. I don't know why I'm not leaning more towards Belfast after what I've been saying, because Belfast is so possible.
Yeah.
Belfast is remarkably possible.
It's probably the smart money right now if you really want to talk about like visibility.
Yeah, it's almost the safe one, you could say. But I mean, I've been talking up King Richard so much, especially since nominations morning.
Son of a
I kind of have to go for it, don't I? Damn, I'm gonna be fucking pissed off if it's Coda, man. I'm gonna be so pissed off if it's Coda because it sounds like I'm going for King Richard, I guess. So that's what I'm gonna do. But I'll be pissed if it's Coda because I could have sworn what it was gonna be when we started, and I'll be very, very happy for Belfast if it's Belfast. But I'll be fucking ecstatic for King Richard as well because both of those are great. So, yeah.
Ashley.
I'm telling you.
That's for sure.
Smart money is on that one as well.
I mean, Owen doesn't know what it's about because he hasn't seen it yet.
Saturday, 4:10 p.m. I will be there.
Sorry, I was that concentrating on making sure I knew how to do that. What did you say, AJ?
I was gonna say, I was wondering if you knew it already or if you looked it up.
Okay.
I said King Richard.
Right. Yeah, guess what I was doing for the past 2 minutes going, is that how you do it? Like, I just search Coda sign language and like half of it is just about the film and then the other half is doing like, here's the letter L, here's the letter Y, in which case, hell yeah.
Well, I mean, I got a little sign language for you too, Ashley, but I'm not going to show you that on camera. So I guess
Read
we'll just go
between the lines.
Actually, I'll just go David Schwimmer on your ass. That being said, Josie just says, despite the age gap, I can picture Jeffrey Wright and Vanette Robinson in a rom-com together. I remember. Brian says, remember in an episode some male chefs called two chefs, Mikey Wikey and Zacky Wacky.
I love that the guy got booted for that. That is one of the funniest moments in that show's history.
Oh, God. Brian says, of course, like many other actors that do American accents, to know Amelia Jones is British.
Yeah. Wild. Not as wild as Woody Norman, but wild.
Josie says that I said this verbatim, but my write-in vote would be for a movie that came out a long time ago in Happiness in 1998. Yeah. Merlin also has a great ensemble. Okay. Since we're going home, AJ, please vouch for me when I state what I'm about to say. You're the only person that knows what I was going to do tonight. We have had this conversation.
I think when we left off, you were contemplating it strongly.
No. I have been alluding to something crazy happening all show long, and this is what it built to. And AJ took the carpet right out from under my feet.
You were also very suspicious of Don't Look Up possibly happening. Because we said it might be akin to what happened last year with Trial of Chicago 7, where...
It's possible.
Because what we saw with Trial was you can either win this and change the race entirely, or you can win this and blank entirely.
Yep.
American Hustle.
Every single time. So let's go through this. With Belfast, it's already got enough visibility. It doesn't need to win. But I can see it winning. With Coda, if Coaster wins, it's a nice little 1-2 punch. Don't Look Up has zero visibility right now and probably could really use this victory, and it'd be the biggest thing it's going to win all season. House of Gucci could shock because clearly they like it, like AJ has mentioned. But at the end of the day, I've been thinking this for a while, and it's always been my thought process to go with this when we get to Ensemble. Because I wanted to go with Licorice Pizza, but that didn't work out. So, visibility is going to be a huge victory, King Richard, and prove why it got its editing nomination that AJ was so excited about. It's a lot more in this race than people think it is. And at this point, I really think it's a legitimate contender for picture.
I've got a question for Ashley real quick, because you just reminded me of something when you said something.
Okay.
About this hot dog thing.
Oh, Lord.
If House of Gucci would win Ensemble, technically Leto wins. Is that the same thing? Or are you talking if he wins individually only? Let's be clear. It's highly unlikely. It's very, very unlikely House of Gucci wins Ensemble. Let's be clear. But if it happens, technically Leto wins.
My God.
not even technically, Leto wins. He will have a trophy.
Yeah.
I will not be downing 2 jars, but if one or the other happens, yes. Which reminds me, I need to eat the rest of the hot dogs the night before so that it isn't
Oh,
just languishing there for like way too much longer than a day. Because it does say, once open, consume within so many days. Because I'm guessing it kind of goes rancid. Then again, considering how I'm going to feel, that'll probably be better, but who knows?
Did we finally finish?
yeah. Last bit in chat. Local hero director Bill Forsyth has a really good ensemble. Directed by Bill Forsyth. Sorry, Josie. The chef's name was Sebastian, says Brian. Josie says, I've been thinking about the possibility of King Richard winning PGA. You know,
That would.
what idea I had too.
I mean, if King Richard were to win PGA and SAG,
That's it.
the race is kind of over. I mean, Campion's still here, but because then that would be because then that's what we were saying. Where if that happened, if it has Picture and Will Smith, the other one's screenplay. That's what happened to Green Book. It seemed I remember it really felt like The Favorite had screenplay in the bag in 2018, and when Green Book won screenplay, that's when the night took a turn that it never came back from.
What if it's Will Smith in editing?
We have said there's no front runner in editing.
There's not.
That would be wild.
And that way PGA still gets an Oscar. And King Richard gets enough visibility to take Best Picture away from The Power of the Dog.
I just realised I've got a gap in the thing. Actress in miniseries. Did you go with a Revo, Owen, or
I don't even know who's in the category.
Coolidge,
No, not
Revo, Quali, Smart, Winslet?
I went with Smart.
Okay.
I think you said Winslet. You said Smart for Hacks.
Yeah.
What about miniseries though? That's Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, because you had your Kidman faux pas there.
Yeah. Just said we had a fun time chatting with you all. Going to shower now and go to bed. Thanks always for including me. No problem. Thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody in chat. Josie, Brian, Lorraine, Dean, Trent. Anyone else that's not watching right now? And
By the way, if anybody just tuned in and they think they know everything, which some people tend to do, you're probably sitting there going, King Richard's not in this. I'm a fucking moron because King Richard's not in this. Yeah, we all said Power of the Dog for PGA. Don't worry. We're just saying King Richard's here to play is what we're saying.
Totally.
So, yeah.
King Richard has the visibility that Tick Tick Boom should have. Honestly. And I love King Richard, but I really love Tick Tick Boom.
I'm standing by its Tragedy of Macbeth has a very appropriate title this season. But
And Irish Pizza got jobbed out to movies that are far not superior. That's your show. 3 hours later, dear Lord. So, tomorrow, AJ's movie reviews. Wednesday, special Speaking Bluntly. Thursday, I'm pretty sure I'm doing a Cali video. Might be a sip and snack, I don't remember. And I have 3 Cali videos left.
and
Right.
for full disclosure, the reviews are Uncharted, Texas Chainsaw, and Kimmy.
Yep. And we've got more movie reviews on Friday. A couple Cali reviews on Saturday and Sunday. And Sunday night, we will be live after SAG to do our wrap-up show. And that video will be available on demand on Monday morning. Ashley can be found on Twitter at @AshesMyNameUK. We just put up a new McDonald's snack stash, so that's coming up. That's up now.
The hidden thing with that, actually, as it turns out, is the chicken Big Mac was so popular they pulled it from the menu after 1 week. So, boy, was I lucky that I did that early.
Been there. AJ, of course, cannot be found on social media, and just like Keith Richards, cannot be killed by conventional weapons. Needless to say, if you'd like to leave him a comment, you're more than welcome to leave him a comment in any of the videos or any of the podcasts, and he'll get back to you in a bit. Versus will be returning soon, but there's a lot of things going on with the award season, so stay tuned for that. We got reviews coming up in the near future. Obviously, we put a pin in 2021, but 2022 movies still rolling along, and the Batman is not far from now, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. It's going to be a wild ride, to say the least.
I will probably end up seeing Dog and the Cursed as well. That'll probably be next week.
There we go. So, like I said, I got the live action and animated shorts. I'm watching those on Friday. Cyrano's probably Friday, if I can work it out. Finally seeing Coda on Saturday, so I'm going to knock that out. And I got to hope that I can find the documentary shorts somewhere. Probably won't. We'll see what happens.
3 of them are on Netflix, but I know that doesn't help you.
Does not help me when I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. So, again, thanks everyone for joining us in chat tonight. For those of you that are lurking, that are just watching the show and not chiming in, thank you again for joining us. We appreciate that as well. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And I can't
shit.
until Ashley comes back. God dang it. I'm getting ready to shake the snow globe and everything.
How long will we've had to sit here before you realized? Here we are.
There we go. And until tomorrow, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that. Oh, dear Lord.
I'll make you drink that shit, Ashley. If it's the last thing I do, the ghost of Jared Leto will haunt you. Ah! Oh, no!